he was like, while I'm there, can we still write each other? And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh yeah, that'll go over great in the barracks or whatever. Like, you and your buddies are all hanging out, they're like, hey, you got an old lady back home? Yeah, sure. Wait, is that a school picture? What the fuck?
Grab some popcorn and stick around. We've got some garbage to talk about.
Hi, Rogue.
Hey, Zax.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Zax. Hey, Rogue.
Hi, Bob.
All right. So, today, I'm really excited.
She's been excited all week.
So, you guys may remember, I think, maybe even a year ago at this point. Maybe
it feels like a century ago.
Forever ago.
Could be. Could be a century.
Yeah. Lots happened.
On Tagged.
Yes, that's the show we talked.
Yes.
We talked about season 1 of Tagged, and today we're going to talk about season 2. I highly recommend you go back and look at that season, because what you'll find is a hot mess of a show, but a coherent narrative nonetheless.
Yeah.
Does it connect to season 1? Like, I don't remember the end of season 1 at all.
Oh,
is there a cliffhanger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me, before we dive into this, let me give a brief recap.
Yeah.
So Tagged is a show about 3 girls being harassed by a guy online called Monkey Man. And in the end, we find out it's this guy named Dunbar Rakes who was mad at the 3 girls for 3 very different reasons. Rowan stood him up because, in her defense, he never signed the note. She didn't know who she was supposed to go see.
Right. He meets her again, and we find out that he's actually returning to the school, but she didn't know that because she didn't recognize him. Mm-hmm. Even though he, I guess, assumed they were friends of some kind. Either way, he was very upset that she wouldn't come meet him somewhere, even though he didn't sign the note. She's like, I'm your secret admirer. And she's like, I don't know who that is. Bye.
Alicia, in the 2nd grade, took his teddy bear and lied to the teacher saying it was hers. So for that, he needed to kidnap her and dig into her flesh.
He mutilates her flesh with a knife.
Yeah.
Which is horrific. And the other 2 girls don't save her.
Immediately.
They don't really do anything.
They prioritize having Starbucks and kikiing over losing their virginity.
Yeah. And by the way, this takes place during high school. Actually, this season and last season are both during sophomore year of high school.
Wow.
So this is a very old grudge he has against her. And then what did Haley do?
Oh, yeah. Well, her and her other friend, Nikki.
Right.
Her and her other friend, Nikki, they decided it would be hilarious to make an Instagram profile of all the uggos who auditioned to be Romeo in the play and make fun of them. And Dunbar was on that.
Yeah, it's got like all their audition tapes, and then they had this little private group that they used to make fun of Dunbar, and Dunbar finds out about it, and he's very upset. Rightfully so.
And before we continue any further, Rogue, does one of these sound not like the others as far as vendettas go?
Yeah, probably the teddy bear one.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, it seems different when you think about it.
Yeah, correct.
And so Dunbar is very mad, and he stalks these girls, and he harasses them in different ways. Like we said, he tortures Alicia, and then at the end of season 1, he confronts Rowan at a party, and he's like, I'm standing right in front of you. I'm Monkey Man. You still aren't paying attention to me. She pulls out her phone to start texting someone while he's standing there with a gun, and like, I don't know. I feel like that's a bad move. Anyway, he shoots himself. He doesn't shoot her. He shoots himself, and he's dead. And at the end of the season, they're like, oh my gosh, that was horrible, but at least it's over. And then they all get a text, and it's from someone.
It says, it's from Monkey Man. It says, "We finish what we start, hashtag the zoo."
Yeah. And it's like, oh,
there's going to be other animals.
Yeah,
yes, actually.
Yeah, the video, it's a bunch of different zoo animal people with their zoosonas, and we'll get to meet more of those.
And we'll find out what the zoo is, but I'll say right now, I don't think Hannah McPherson knew what the zoo was when she wrote that for season 1. I think she just decided. Cool line. That's my theory. I don't know for sure, but I think she was just making it up as she went.
Yeah, and I'll let you be the judge of that in a few choice parts that come up.
Okay.
So, we're just gonna dive in to season 1. Okay.
Oh, season 2.
Season 2, yes. Sorry. So we start off in media res, and we see Alicia, the most tortured of the group.
Right, she was physically tortured, but also her life is horrible. Her parents are dead, and
she's running to her car, and it blows up.
Oh my gosh!
And then we see
who blew it up.
It is a masked zoo member, and in like a deer mask, and they run away. And then when they take it off, we find out it's Rowan.
What?
Whoa.
Betrayal.
Who? Oh my gosh! How could we lead to that? And then it's like, what, 2 months earlier or something?
Yeah, so...
Sometime earlier.
So we don't know when that happened, but now we're taking place 3 months where the last season left off.
Okay.
And what we find out is episode 1 is basically just letting us know where everybody went. Haley made an attempt on her life. Rowan is really obsessed with learning more about Dunbar because she doesn't remember him. Cop Dad would like her to stop.
Right,
also,
she has a cop dad.
Yeah. We
and
talked
also,
extensively about Cop Dad in season 1.
Yeah, he's almost not in season 2.
Oh man. Just talk to Cop Dad.
Oh, you're gonna be saying that a lot.
They didn't learn anything.
Oh, you're gonna be saying that a lot too. You are more right than you know.
I really have. You're saying all the perfect things.
Haven't even seen the season, and you're saying all the same things I was saying.
I don't know if you remember, Rowan was being groomed last season.
Yeah.
And still is.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So after, well, you go ahead.
Well, just both Cop Dad and Jake separately, even though Dad does not know Jake is still in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Jake is the groomer.
They both tell her, like, you gotta let it go. It's over. It's behind you.
Even though this happened less than
3 months.
3 months ago.
Oh my gosh.
He shot himself in front of her.
I mean, the Cop Dad thing, that makes sense. I understand that, but come on. Groomer. Be better.
Yeah. Be better is our message to groomers everywhere. Be better.
Here's another thing. By the
way, we say he's a groomer. That's because she's 16 and he's 21.
Yeah.
And when he found out that she was 16, he was like, I can't date you anymore. This is bad. But they're still very attracted to each other, and now they're still meeting each other through a fence to restrain themselves, which is so bad. I don't like it.
Like, yeah, and we'll talk more about this fence tactic as we go, but I'm sorry, like, especially the more people I hear talk about, like, their different grooming experiences and stuff. Mm-hmm. And, like, I even remember Kat Black did a video where she was, like, looking at an old picture of herself, and she was like, when I lied about my age when I was younger, they definitely knew that I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say the writer, Hannah McPherson, the writer, creator of the show, does not want us to think he could tell. Yeah. He's not supposed to be this horrible dude. So... Anyway.
Yeah, so we don't actually learn too much about what Alicia has been up to, although she's still with Ash. If you remember, he was the drug-dealing best boy.
Yes.
Of last season. And he's still best boy.
Yeah, actually, throughout the whole season, he's maybe the only competent character.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy for him. But here's one thing. We get to see this moment where it starts off real cute, and she's like, I can't find my winter clothes. He's like, are these it? She's like, hee, maybe. And then she's going through them, and then out of nowhere, she's like, I saw Haley at school. And he's like,
is that weird? Because, like, she tried to kill herself with the drugs that he sold her.
Yeah, and then she's like, because she tried to kill herself, or because you sold her the pills? And I was just like,
what are you? You're suddenly on the attack. I don't. Yeah, it's weird. She has a couple moments throughout the season where, like, everything is chill, and then she'll bring up some really hurtful thing that does not need to be mentioned.
And then he explains that he understands because she's lost too many people, so she just tries to push them away. But he's gonna stick around.
Okay.
Because he's best boy.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Rogue, you're from New Mexico, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna have to answer for the New Mexican educational system.
Oh, it's horrible.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, it? I don't know if it's this horrible.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay, let me, before I even tell, because he knows where I'm going.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what was like the typical bullying situation when you went to school?
It was usually, this would be high school. Okay, so,
yeah.
I never saw any, like, physical bullying, really. It was all verbal, regardless of gender, you know, lots of guys ganging up on smaller guys, but just, like, verbally. And I didn't even really see a lot of that. The only time I saw it was, like, in gym, in PE.
Okay, and, like, if a teacher happened upon any of this, would they
say something, do something?
Oh, yeah. And we had security guards there, so if there was any physical bullying, they would have stepped in, too.
So, the first episode, we see, Rowan is getting bullied by a couple of guys in her school. And specifically, she's walking down the hall, looking at her phone, trying to, like, people keep looking at her and whispering and stuff. Because, again, she's the girl who Dunbar killed himself in front of not that long ago. She's walking through school trying to mind her own business. And suddenly, bam, huge explosion on the wall right next to her of blood. And it's a blood balloon. It's a balloon full of blood that someone smashed into the wall right next to her.
Of course.
And she's drenched in probably fake blood, but she's drenched in it.
Oh, they carried her.
They carried her, and they call her Carrie.
Okay.
A couple times throughout the season because she was covered in blood when Dunbar shot himself. And we later find out, I don't know if it's in this episode or later, but we find out that this is the third blood balloon that she has received. And nothing happens. Even though after that happens, the bullies come up to her and say, "Loser! Loser!" And then the whole school, everybody in the hall, walks up and they've got L's on their forehead and they're going, "Loser! Loser!
I also feel like
loser!" And not one teacher steps out of their classroom to be like, "Hey, what's going on out here?"
Or even clean up that blood balloon.
Nothing. We never hear about any consequences for that at all.
Aside from that being, like, unrealistic bullying or, like, teachers not intervening, aside from that, I feel like the thing that adults always get wrong when they're writing high school dramas is kids don't get bullied for, like, going through trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. I've never seen bullying happen that way in real life.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it happening that way, but for some reason, when adults want to write bullying, that's what they write.
Yeah.
Haley's basically been kind of blowing Rowan off, but...
She's been blowing everybody off.
Yeah. She doesn't want to use a phone. She explicitly has just been leaving her phone at home. Her mom tries to give it to her. She's not into it.
Her mom is also trying to push her. she's like, you're back from, I think
rehab.
She does go to rehab after her suicide attempt. And her mom is now like, oh, you should audition for the play because I remember you loved being in the play before. And, like, her mom doesn't know anything about what happened. Like, she knows that, she probably knows, well, I don't know, actually. She never mentions Rowan. But, like, I would imagine she might know that Rowan was there when Dunbar shot himself. But her mom never asks her about it or talks to her in any way about that kind of stuff. Instead, she's just like, you should get involved in acting again because you liked acting. Which I don't necessarily think is super unrealistic. Some parents are just real bad at that kind of thing. It is weird to me that she's not saying anything to Haley about, like, how are you feeling? What's going on? Do you want to talk? Does not try to connect with her daughter at all.
And we'll follow up on that later, and I am going to be so excited for your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Monkey Man is still sending them messages threatening their life, and that's the end of episode 1.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all you need to know for episode 1.
Okay. So, next episode starts with Rowan stealing Dunbar's school file, and we meet a new character on the show. Her name's Zoe.
Okay.
She's nice to Rowan. They hang out, they talk a bit. Here's something that Zoe asks Rowan where she can get some weed, and then Rowan just tells her, oh, there's this kid Ash, he works at the coffee shop.
Like, she just tells the new girl where to get the drugs.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm like, how do you not know that him and Alicia are trying not to have him be a drug dealer anymore? Per the new coffee shop job?
Right, that's why he's working in a coffee shop, so that he doesn't have to sell drugs to make money. But also, like, rude, what if she's a narc?
Because if you're a narc, you have to tell them that.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, don't tell anybody else, but I'm a narc. Know where I can get drugs?
Also, we don't see much of Cop Dad, but we do see a little bit more of the perfect teacher. She's back.
Yay.
She's still their teacher, so that's nice. Okay. She pairs Rowan and Brandon in a project, and he's like, you just give me credit and don't do it. Do you remember Brandon from last season?
No.
He was this asshole who was bullying Rowan.
But also super overtly sexually into her.
Oh, he was so horny for her, but also very rude and mean.
Okay.
And a bully. And he's going to go through several character revisions through this season.
Amazing.
This is another thing. It starts with Alicia not talking to Haley, but, like, everyone is openly
mad at her?
Mad at Haley for trying to end her own life.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's...
at one point, Ash is talking to her, and he's like, you made it about me. And, like, on one hand, I get that.
For him, I get it, because if she kills herself using drugs that he sold her,
right,
then he probably could get in trouble for that. But that does not make it about anybody else.
Everybody is like, I was worried about you.
That makes it about, how dare you try to kill yourself?
Rowan is like, you saw the messages? I sent you so many messages. And she's like,
I tried to visit you in the hospital. And she's like, I just didn't want to see anyone. And she goes, wow, I didn't know I was just anyone. And it's like, fuck all of you. Go fuck all of yourselves. Like, she was struggling and decided to end her life. That's clearly not a decision she made lightly. And it has nothing to do with the rest of you.
Yeah.
But they're all mad at her, and the show acts like we should all be mad at her. And then she has to apologize to basically everyone, like, one by one, throughout the season. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And the show makes a whole deal out of her realizing she has to apologize to this person and that person and get lectured to by this person and that person and then apologize to them too. And it's like, why are we still doing this? Like, her main story arc this season is apologizing to people for trying to kill herself off screen between
or
seasons.
being absolutely checked out as her life is in constant jeopardy.
Peril. Yeah, she's in constant danger, and she's just like a blank stare, doesn't know what's going on. Oh, by the way, real quick, I just want to interject and say, while we're going through the episode by episode summary, I want you to think about what we know at the end of season 1 and like how much more information we're getting over time about like who the bad guys are and what their motivations are and what the girls are doing and how we're figuring that all out. Just keep that in mind, and when we get to the end of the season, I think you'll find some interesting observations.
Okay. So, Rowan is like, Monkey Man's still after us, we gotta talk about this. And Haley's like, I don't want to anymore. I just don't want to know what's going on. I don't have a phone. I'm just going to keep living my life, and if I'm not online, then he can't hurt me.
Which is not true, because he tried to hurt you in person. So that's the real threat, isn't it? I mean...
Yeah. But, you know, I'll leave it. Fine. Whatever. So Rowan finds out that Jake is about to go upstate to the police academy, and so...
to become a police officer. not because he's a groomer.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well...
Yeah, I know. When he said, I'm going to go upstate to the police, I was like, and he's like, academy. Oh.
Well, okay, so she's, like, mad, and she's like, you're the one who came up with this dumb fence idea. I don't like it. I just want to, like, make out with you. So he tries to kiss her through the fence hole.
They make out through the fence. And I'm like, I bet it tastes real good, that fence.
You can imagine how it has slightly hindered them, but, like, a fence hole, it's...
big enough for lips.
Big enough for a tongue.
Get through it. But then he just hops the fence.
Oh my
and they
gosh.
canoodle. And I'm like, sir.
Yeah.
First of all, I cannot imagine getting that horned up for my illegal girlfriend that I'm going to just jump like Mario over this fence to make out with her.
I don't know. He can't restrain himself.
Yeah, so is the show portraying this as like a cute thing?
Oh yeah,
like a romantic
thing.
Yeah.
This is like romantic and sweet. The music in this show, especially in season 2, we noticed, is carrying the show.
Yeah, all the emotional weight rests on the soundtrack. This
like
show.
if you mute it, it's just bizarre and
amazing.
Bad.
It's great. So Alicia finds out that they haven't stopped. And she gets mad at both of them. She says, "You're not my friend, Rowan. He could get in trouble. He's the only family I have."
That's right. Jake is her cousin.
Right.
And she tells Jake, "How could you be so stupid? You're about to go to the police academy. Why are you still doing this?"
Yeah.
And then...
By the way, while they were canoodling by the fence, he was like, while I'm there, can we still write each other? And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh yeah, that'll go over great in the barracks or whatever. Like, you and your buddies are all hanging out. They're like, hey, you got an old lady back home? Yeah, sure. Wait, is that a school picture? What the fuck? And then he's just like, don't worry, man. She's totally 18. And it's like,
We got this envelope with hearts and flower stickers on the outside, Jake. That's your cousin?
Yeah, what the hell?
My girlfriend.
Yo, I just read your letter over your shoulder. She needs your help with algebra too? What the hell?
You know how it is.
Dames, huh?
Oh,
that's how I assume people talk in New Mexico. Am I right?
No, not quite.
So, here's my issue. Like, we see her lash out at Ash, and I'm like, okay, that was out of nowhere. But then she yells at Jake and Rowan, and I'm like, okay, but they are wrong. Alicia is not wrong to be upset with them.
Yeah.
Like, that's a quite reasonable position, I think.
So now Haley's at her audition, and before she can even go, we see 3 zoo members. There is a rabbit, a pig, And Monkey Man himself.
Yeah, someone wearing a monkey mask.
Okay.
And so, like, the zoo, like we said, the zoo is all people wearing masks. And so...
They're Zoosonas.
They're Zoosona. They don't say... You keep saying Zoosona. They don't say that in the show. She's on stage, about to do an audition, and in the back, in the lighting, like the lights and sound booth, she sees there's a guy in a monkey mask. And she, like... fumbles her line and then just runs away. And she runs out the back entrance of the theater so that no one will know where she's going, because that's a smart move. And she sees the rabbit and the pig riding in a blue truck, and they like stare at her, and she's scared out of her mind, and she's like covering her mouth, and then they drive away. They don't actually hurt her, they just scare her. But she's still very frightened. Mm-hmm. And it would be very frightening, right? I mean, it's a quite reasonably scary thing to do. Good thing she's telling everyone what's going on. Oh, wait. No. She doesn't tell anyone.
Oh,
She doesn't even tell Rowan and Alicia.
Yeah, to be fair, the episode ends there. And, you know, as is custom with Tag, sometimes the three of them will meet up. At least once an episode. And not talk about the different harassment they're facing from the same people.
Yeah, and so it'll be like an episode will pass, a whole episode will pass. They won't mention it to each other. And then the next episode, they'll be like, by the way, this happened to me like a week ago. And they were like, oh, no, instead of like, why didn't you say anything? Like, that would have been useful information for me last week. But no. I mean, she doesn't tell them about the guys in the mask. She doesn't tell them about the blue truck. No, not yet.
So I'm noticing so far to your question, your question about like how much information we learn about the main antagonist. So far in 3 episodes, they pretty much just show up and then leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. So, Rowan actually, and this is, you know, it's episode 3. So, last episode, it was episode 6 before we saw any...
Last season.
It was episode 6 when we saw any serious sleuthing going on. But this time, it's episode 3, and Rowan has a suspect. She's thinking, Brandon's mean, maybe he's Monkey Man.
Wow,
maybe he's
excellent.
Involved, maybe he's Monkey Man.
Excellent detective work.
Yeah.
And so they have this project, so she's thinking, instead of me just doing it alone, I'll make him do it with me. Then we have to spend time together, and I'll find clues.
Yeah,
and
I'll just keep going to where he is and like looking when he's not looking through his backpack, looking through his home, that kind of thing.
Okay.
She also suspects it because she found his notebook and it had a news clipping of Dunbar. But again, and I didn't mention this before, but part of her being obsessed with Dunbar is that she also has news clippings of Dunbar. So I feel...
And she's not in the zoo.
Right.
So, like, I mean, he was also at the party.
Yeah.
I mean, if I remember correctly, he enters the room, talks to her, leaves, Dunbar walks in, and then shoots himself. So, like, he could quite reasonably be somewhat traumatized, too, because he was there, and he's like, if I hadn't left the room, Dunbar would have possibly shot me, and her, and him. Like, you know, he might be quite reasonably traumatized. He's, you know, but the show doesn't address any of that.
Or he is Dunbar. Dunbar...
that would be...
He leaves, Dunbar walks in, he has clippings of Dunbar.
We never saw them in the same room at the same time.
That, you know what? Oh, but we do have that video of when the homeless girl from last season, Raven, she was first making fun of Brandon, that Dunbar stands up for her. And then you can see Brandon in the background filming and laughing.
Which is insane. It's amazing. It's amazing to me that he immediately turned on his defender in the moment, while he was being bullied. But also, just a reminder, then later Dunbar killed that homeless girl, Raven, and we never heard about any consequences for that.
Yeah.
Like, she never told her cop dad that video was going around on social media, but from what we understand, no investigation ever happened.
Yeah, like, in his obituary, it does not mention that Dunbar murdered somebody.
Well, you wouldn't want to put that in an obituary.
Well, oh, right, but it wasn't even his obituary. It was just a news article saying teen suicides out of control.
That's true.
With Dunbar. So it was like, I think that's
By
the
the way,
closest thing.
one suicide is not a good reason to write an article saying teen suicides out of control.
I mean, one is enough.
When is it?
One is too much.
One is too much. It's never in control.
Unless there's 0, I guess.
And that's a reasonable rate. Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, teenage euthanasia.
What is this? Like,
but yeah. So she goes up to Brandon and she's like, hey, so I was thinking we could work together on the project. And then Sean and Trevor, the
his
other
two friends.
His two friends. If you remember Sean, he was canoodling with Haley. He did that weird classroom torso massage in the middle of class.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put the clip right here.
Yeah. So that's him. And then Trevor's the other one. And she comes up and they're both like, all of them are like, you're a skank. And
Yeah, we hate you. You suck. Blah.
And then Trevor keeps going. Brandon's like, cool it. And then Rowan looks back like,
Wow. Was Brandon actually a good guy? And I'm like, 30 seconds ago, he was goofing on you too.
the joke got old. But here's the other thing. They're in like this lab and like there's a mouse or something.
Yeah, they've got like there's a snake and they're holding a mouse, dangling it over the snake. And it's like, no adults are around. Nobody's like, is this a haunted school? Like, what?
Sounds about right for
I
New
don't
Mexico.
understand. Well, yeah, so Trevor's like, hey, I'm gonna feed this mouse to the snake. Brandon's like, not cool, dude, don't do that.
What?
That's not how he talks. But, yeah, and he takes the mouse away from Trevor. And
And
then
he's
he's like, knock it off, don't, you are a bit, and then Rowan's
what
looking back.
snakes eat.
Wow, what a sweetheart, what a cool guy. Which is like, such a low bar to clear. I don't know whose mouse it is, by the way. I don't.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, but that's what snakes eat. It's not like.
I don't know. It might be someone else's mouse, but they are at school, and it is a snake.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Anyway, she grabs his backpack and rifles through it,
Yeah.
and then, like, she grabs his backpack and steps out into the hall, rifles through it, finds something.
She finds a locker combo.
Yeah, she finds a locker combo on a piece of paper, and then she doesn't actually realize it's a locker combo immediately, even though it's a series of numbers that look like a locker combo, but whatever. And then she just leaves the bag outside,
Clearly rifled through.
and Brandon never brings it up again.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, he has to know. He has to know,
He likes
but he
her.
doesn't,
There are...
I guess.
Well, yeah, he does. But there's also several times where I'm like, okay, she is not nearly as slick as she seems to think she is.
Because she's living behind all the evidence of her crime.
Yeah.
And the show just never addresses it. They just act like she is slick and sneaky.
So Alicia finally pushes Ash too far.
And it's amazing. The scene is so great.
A few inches later.
What the fuck?
Yeah, what the heck?
Okay, so that was crazy. I mean, they're having an argument that is fairly reasonable as a couple argument, and then suddenly she's like, oh, just because you couldn't save your sister. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because if the argument...
What is that?
The argument is that she's The argument is that she's acting like a child, right? Or that's what his side is. And she's
that's
like...
what she's accusing him of doing.
Yeah, right.
Treating her like a child, yeah.
Right. And, it's just, like, tangentially related. Like, why would... Oh, that's so weird to be like, you're treating me like your sister because you couldn't save her. Ah, that's weird.
And it's weird.
Sister
it's tangential. It's just like she just wanted to bring up his trauma.
She's sister zoning herself.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, he left because he doesn't play that game.
Yeah, and he'll be upset for quite a while after this.
Understandably.
It's a pretty serious argument between them.
So he's at work, and Zoe rolls through, our new character, and she's like, hey, fellow teens, can I get some drugs?
Yeah, I heard you sell drugs. Let me get some drugs from you. And he's like, no, not here, not now, not ever. I don't do that anymore. And why the hell are you acting like a narc?
Yeah. And she's just like, she leaves, but this isn't over.
She's like, this isn't over. I'll pay whatever you want. No? Okay, well, I'll keep an eye on you.
Something that is going to come up a few times, but I'm not going to need to mention it more than this. So the perfect teacher, as you saw a little bit there, she is trying to break down Alicia's walls to be the one positive influence in her life. And
this is the only responsible adult in the entire show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
we have Cop Dad when they let us have Cop Dad.
I was going to say.
Appears twice in the whole season.
I feel like Cop Dad could help if he knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Also, he has a cop. When he goes on the night shift now, because of everything that went down, he has one of his cop friends like park out front of the house just to keep an eye on Rowan, and she's going out of her way to evade the police. So I don't know how much more Cop Dad can do.
She's going out of her way to evade the police, and also going out of her way to not tell him that her two other friends are in danger, and it might be a good idea to put a cop outside their homes as well.
No, this has always been a trend. This has always been a trend with the show. They don't care about their friends.
They don't care at all, because they don't talk about anything. And in fact, later on in the season, she's going to say, it's too late, and we've done all this investigating. If we told the cops now, they're going to spend all their time re-investigating all the stuff we investigated, and you two will end up dead. And I'm like, that's your fault.
Yeah.
You're the reason they didn't have cop protection before. The cops could have been involved in the investigation.
If you were getting a bunch of threatening, menacing snaps, they're flashes and tags. But if you were getting a bunch of menacing snaps that are going to disappear after you open them, would you do anything?
Like, would you prepare your phone for these flashes, these snaps?
Screenshot?
Oh! Immediately think about screen recording it. Well, guess what? These girls never discover you can screen record.
Never
at all.
They don't even, when they're together, they'll open it together. And I'm like, why don't one of you take your camera? You know you all got the same
You all got the same shit. So one of you open it, and the other two hold on to it. And then, when you go to the cops or someone who can help, you show them. Or, if you're not with the girls, don't open it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Each episode, they have a, little powwow, and then they don't...
They don't share information.
They just talk, basically, here's what's going to happen in different, new, exciting, boring ways. Rowan is like, Haley, you can't just check out of life. You've got to have a phone. I don't want a phone. Being around you guys gives me anxiety. Alicia, I'll bring up a valid point that you guys are just going to ignore because I'm poor. And
genuinely, we were watching the show again just over the weekend. We watched with Shotgun the entire second season, and several times throughout the second season, when it comes time to split up the group, it becomes Alicia on one side and the two girls who are not poor on the other.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, we're all in this together until danger arises, and then class division happens, and it's like, why did that happen?
The other thing, this is going to be fun. I don't know if you remember a young gentleman by the name of Noah Centineo.
Oh my goodness.
But he's on the cast now, and
Yay.
he is Haley's upperclassman tutor.
Is it a new love interest?
Yes,
Yay.
it is.
I will say, genuinely, this is probably the most I've ever enjoyed Noah Centineo in something. He's just he is second best boy. Not as best as Ash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he is a pretty solid best boy.
He's pretty good. And I'm not normally a fan of Noah Centineo.
Yeah, who is?
But some people are. I thought he was very charming in this season, and I thought, you know what? I see the appeal. Because
basically, and he tells her a few different times, they kind of have the same conversation, but he's like, first he's trying to do tutoring stuff with her, and she's not in it. And he's like, look, what do you actually like to do? Because you need to figure that out. Because
You're not doing anything right now.
You're just taking up space. So, like, figure out what you like and just get it together.
Get your shit together. Which is, like, better advice than everybody else who's saying, you need to apologize for trying to kill yourself. Instead, he's like, fuck all that. I don't care about all that. What I'm worried about is you right now. Right now, you're messed up. Mm-hmm. And right now, you're struggling, and I'm not going to lecture you. I'm just telling you, you're wasting my time, and you're wasting your own time. Yeah. So, like, figure out what you want to do with your life.
The other thing two big things. One, Alicia goes off alone and gets shot several times by a paintball gun. Oh. She's got no protective padding on.
Okay. Yeah, the person who shoots her is wearing a bunny mask.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing we decided was, I'm pretty sure Tagged is Euphoria, but boring.
Yeah, Euphoria, but stupid and boring.
Sounds right.
Basically.
Okay. Now, here's episode 4. Alicia gets an F on a test, and every question has in red marker the zoo.
It's not like marked wrong. It just says the zoo, the zoo, the zoo for every question.
Oh no, now my schoolwork is being terrorized.
Yeah, actually, we paused and looked at it. For some reason, the teacher, first of all, takes a straight look at the paper as he's handing it to her. So, like, maybe is he in on it? Yeah. But also,
he's the
she doesn't have any answers written down. She doesn't have any answers written down on this test. So, either she actually, this is not a copy of a test that she actually took, mm-hmm. or she did take the test and just didn't answer anything on the first page. And then the person grading it wrote the zoo over and over, which is like, And then also, we see that Noah Centineo is the TA in that class, and he has a red pen. And we later hear him say he always has a red pen. And so, we as the audience are supposed to go, oh, he's in the zoo. Yeah. But the thing is, Alicia never brings this up to the rest of the girls. And Haley never brings up that Noah Centineo is her tutor. She brings up her tutor later, but never mentions his name or anything about him, and the girls do not connect those dots. What? So, like, where there could have been some tension where, like, the girls are like, oh no, these guys are encroaching on us from all directions. These zoo guys are all trying to sneak into our lives. They haven't talked about it, so they don't have that suspense. That's suspense only for us, the viewers, not for the characters in the show, which is very strange.
The other thing, too, is, like, I don't even think you really need to be, like, super, like, into conflict. Like, look, teacher, my head wasn't in this quiz. I'll take the F, that's fine, but I don't really know how to, like, improve when all the answers just say the zoo.
Can you explain this to me?
Yeah.
Just explain what these notes mean.
Like, I don't...
And if the teacher goes, it means you should watch your fucking back, then you know he's in the zoo. And if he says, I don't understand why it says all that, let me look it over, like, then you get some information.
Yeah.
Because he's audaciously handing her a piece of paper that says the zoo on it over and over instead of...
Yeah.
I don't know.
But forget about all that.
Okay.
Because the real star of this episode is Nikki. If you remember last season, that was who Haley ditched Rowan to be best friends for.
Okay.
And we get to see her. The party where Dunbar ended his life was at her house. And she's a loser now. For the same reason. She quit the
because kids are so mean, you know?
I feel like in just another teen show, Nikki would be immortalized for it. They'd be like, that's so, I can't believe you survived that.
Yeah.
Like,
when crazy shit happened in my high school at parties, I would hear the story later, and it'd be like, oh, do you remember, like, did you hear that Sam did this at Mike's party? And then Mike would be, like, legendary for hosting such a crazy party. That was how it worked at my school.
In high school dramas, if your party doesn't go 100% perfectly without any surprises, then you're a loser.
You're a fucking idiot.
No longer cool.
Yeah, no longer cool. Yeah, you had chips and dip. Yeah, you brought alcohol. Yeah, everybody got fucked up. But that guy peed himself? You're the loser.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Nikki her parents go out of town all the time.
All the time.
They're super rich, and then they're literally just like, you're gonna wear your cheerleading outfit for these portraits. And she's like, but I'm not even on the team. You're gonna wear the outfit, Nikki.
And then mom is like about to leave, and she turns and says, oh yeah, Nikki? Nikki's like, yeah, and you're thinking she might say like, I love you, see you later. Instead she goes, no parties, and then just leaves, which is like such a mean, like, girl boss bitch thing to say to your daughter, who last party she threw, someone killed themselves. I don't think she wants to throw a party, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fair. So anyway, she's in the stall crying. Well, we see
at school. She goes to school and she's in the stall crying.
And Rowan asks twice if she's okay, and then she just goes to the handicap stall to look at her Instagram at Brandon to see if she can find any information. So, she tried to talk it out. She didn't. She
didn't make much of an effort.
He's still main suspect, but he's also talking to her. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. She finds out where he lives, and she just shows up to do the project. And it's really, this I will say, I found a little cute, kind of, I guess, because he's like, you don't quit, do you? And she's like, nope. And then she goes inside, and he just suddenly just starts acting like a normal person. He's like, can I get you something to drink, I guess? She's like, yeah, water'd be good. And then he goes to do it. But, like, her tone, and I think this is more like the actors than, like, anything else in this show, but her tone is just like, oh, you mean you can behave like a regular person?
You can just be nice? Okay.
This is possible? Okay, great. And then she starts digging through his stuff.
What's she looking for? She's looking for anything.
Basically, yeah, she has no idea what she's looking for. But then...
Does she find anything? I know, she asks him a question.
Yeah,
when he comes back in, she's digging through stuff, and he's like, hi, yeah, you're looking through my stuff. Why are you doing that? And she kind of flatly says, like, this fell out of your backpack the other day. It's your notebook. It had a cutting of a newspaper with Dunbar rakes on it, and I want to know why you have that. So she asks him that, and he says, my mom gave me that clip because I was at the party. And you know what? I don't know. We went to camp together. We went to camp together, but I don't really know him. And then she says, okay, whatever. And then he walks up real close to her, and he's real angry, and he says, Rowan, I'm a bad guy. Stay away from me.
And she takes that as an invitation to definitely explore further. And she leaves, and she sort of looks back at him, and I'm like, girl, please. No, do not be...
Like, remember, you suspect him of being in the zoo, and he just said to you, I'm a bad guy. Stay away from me.
No. And then, here's the next little thingy that happened. Rowan goes to Dunbar's old house.
Right.
And she finds
She's
Nikki
looking for answers. She's hoping to talk to Dunbar's mom. Dunbar's mom moved out almost immediately.
But she finds Nikki there. They bump into each other, and they're like, and then Rowan's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, what are you doing here?
And then they kind of like drop their guard a little bit, and they talk a little bit about the party, what happened. And Nikki explains that, like, after Dunbar killed himself there, her parents just painted over it. Painted over the blood on the wall, and then just kept moving on with their lives.
Cool.
And Rowan was like, oh, I would have thought you guys moved. No, we didn't move.
At one point, though, Nikki has these things, like, I don't know.
I think they're little pebbles or some shit.
I don't know. There's something. And she's like, were you following me to Dunbar's grave?
Because, like, Rowan has one that she found at Dunbar's grave as well.
And Nikki's like, what? No, I wasn't following you. And then Rowan's like, wait, you visit Dunbar's grave? Why? And then Nikki says, why do you? And I'm like, yeah, you both came here.
You're both in Dunbar's house. You both have the exact same reasons for being here. You're both traumatized. It was very shitty. You're both feeling sad. I mean, why are you even asking these? When it's time for Rowan to ask questions, she shuts the fuck up. Mm-hmm. But when it's time for her to ask stupid questions, suddenly she's just blabbing. She's just asking all kinds of stupid-ass questions, like, why do you go to Dunbar's grave? The same reason you do.
It's because people don't know how to be human in this universe.
Mm-hmm. 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 So, episode 5. Ash tells Haley that Sean was crying over her when he found out she tried to end her life. So it is on. She goes to his house.
Yeah, this is crazy to me. Like, Sean, she has been really, really touch and go with Sean. Every time she sees him, she's like, we're just friends. I don't want to talk to you. And he's like, well, I'm just looking at the future. You know, like, maybe we can be together. And she's like, take it down a notch, bud. I don't want anything right now. I'm still very shaken up. Then Ash tells her one thing, that Sean cried at school when he found out she tried to kill herself. And she goes over to Sean's place, and Sean is just sitting by the pool, no sign of any parents. He's sitting by the pool, and she does this sexy strip dance. And, like, she gets into the pool all sexy, and he gets into the pool, and they start making out, and they have a wonderful night.
Here's the other thing. Another example of the soundtrack breaking its back to carry this show, because they're both young teens. And
I don't know how old Leah Marie Johnson was, but it was very gross and uncomfortable for me.
But also their acting looks really awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah. But the music is like sexy, sexy time. And it's like, alright. Great. But as soon as they have their canoodle sesh, she finds out that Sean has the same exact hoodie as Pigmania. And she's like, could he be? But then he hugs her, and so she's all laughs and smiles again.
Yeah.
They have their their daily session, the trio, and then Alicia shows like most of her back is a bruise.
Yeah, she's like, and it's so weird. It's so weird. Because of that paintball, she got shot with those paintballs, and Rowan is like, Hey, what's her name? Haley. Hey, Haley, you need to be more checked into this because Alicia was basically attacked. And then Alicia's like, yeah, I got shot at with paintballs. And then shows this big old bruise. And I'm thinking, you were attacked.
Yeah, not
basically anything. You were assaulted with a paintball gun. Once again, Alicia gets the worst treatment of all the girls. Because Rowan, I don't think throughout the whole season gets attacked. Hardly, I don't think ever.
Yeah, actually, nothing really happens.
Nothing really directly happens to her. Haley gets scared several times. Alicia is terrorized. For some reason, the show has decided she is the only person it's okay to completely obliterate. They can shoot at her, they can stalk her, they can, like, chase her around while she's driving. It's crazy how much she gets attacked in this show, and no one seems to care at all. Ash does care a little bit, but soon he won't be able to take care of her for reasons.
Yeah. Ash finds out that Zoe isn't a narc, actually, but her dad is sick in the hospital, and that's who the weed is for.
Yeah, because it's sort of implied that he has cancer, and then later confirmed that he has cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but do you remember Bree from season 1?
Who the fuck is Bree? Oh, right.
Rowan's hacker sister.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say the hacker girl.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we don't have her this season.
Oh,
she's gone.
Man.
But we got a new hacker, Bree's friend, Stinger.
Yeah, there's this guy named Stinger, and they're like, oh, I know this techie guy. Rowan says, I've heard about this techie guy. Bree told me about him. Let's go meet up with him. And so then they go to this abandoned church, and it says, there's a statue of some kind, like some kind of Christian symbol, and then it says below that, "Forgive me, Father, for I am sin."
Oh my god.
Also, okay, yeah, this is another question. Were there an abundance of abandoned buildings for teens to hang out in?
Yes.
In Albuquerque?
Yeah, there are.
Okay.
I'm almost positive that... Well, I know for sure they filmed at the rail yards, which is like this abandoned rail yard, where a lot of urban exploring happens, and I remember seeing that in season 1, and I'm wondering how much of it is just like in that area.
Oh, maybe. But I don't know, it just seems weird. There's just like, first of all, no adults ever in this.
Yeah, I think I can count the total number of adults you see on screen on like one hand.
Yeah. And just, it's so many different abandoned buildings. Like,
certainly the number of speaking adults on screen is easily one hand.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, the teacher, a perfect teacher that lives near Alicia, the teacher who hands her a paper.
Stinger might be of age?
Stinger might be an adult. A Jake.
No.
Unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, those are all
Pretty
the adults.
much that's all the speaking adults.
But here's what we learned. He breaks it. He's done some sleuthing. He's figured some stuff out. Okay, so buckle up. Here's what
we're... How many episodes in are we?
We're episode 5.
Okay, episode 5. We're finally going to learn something about the zoo.
Okay, so the zoo is a forum where kids get online to talk about their bullies. Monkey Man was on there complaining about these 4 girls.
Not 3 girls, 4 girls.
Disrespected him. And
Stinger specifically mentions that the other part of the zoo is that these kids all get animal themed masks and animal themed names on the zoo, and it's all anonymous. And so they're all wearing these masks, and then like sometimes they will like announce that there's going to be a party at a place on the night. They'll just drop the address and the time, and people will show up, and they'll have like a crazy like drugs and sex party.
Okay.
And he says this. He says they have this forum where they talk about their stuff like that. And then you know what Rowan's first question is?
Actually, Rogue, what would your first question be?
Can we call the police?
That's a great question.
That
would be a perfect question to ask. Instead, Rowan asks one of many very stupid questions that get asked during this season.
She asks, okay, well, how are they coordinating?
What? On the forum. The coordinating on the forum.
The thing I just said. They're talking to each other. That's how they coordinate. Oh, you know what? Actually, that makes perfect sense. That is so in character for her, because she doesn't understand that talking to other people is how you coordinate.
That's true. That's true.
The other girls are looking at each other like, what is that?
So he answers how they're coordinating.
Okay.
And it's basically,
He repeats what a forum is.
Yeah. The other thing, so at the night of the party, someone took over as Monkey Man, sent the message, we finished what we start, #the zoo, put out a call, Dunbar ended his life because of these girls, they have to pay, and then someone else, the person who's been sending the flashes for this season mostly, King Cobra, took the call and made it like, now it's King Cobra's running the show.
Yeah, King Cobra is the new leader, not Monkey Man.
Got it.
And so, like, that's new information for them, which they should have realized that something was going on, because they have been getting flashes on their phones from King Cobra.
Okay.
From someone called King Cobra, and it's all very threatening.
We learn that Brandon is mean because his dad is.
His dad is mean, too. Yeah, which, by the way, I forgot that adult. That's 6 adults.
That's the cycle of abuse for you.
Yeah, that's basically what they're saying. They're saying he's mean to Rowan because his dad is mean to him. And we see him being genuinely mean, right? Like, Brandon sneaks back into the house so that he doesn't have to confront his dad. And his dad's like, wow, sneaking into your own room like a little bitch, huh? And, like, throws him to the ground. It's real sad.
It's sad, but also, like... Why? I didn't need a reason.
Right.
For Brandon to behave this way.
Yeah, I would really rather know why the other students are so easy to prompt to get them to go loser. Like, that's the thing I would like an answer to.
Yeah, I could.
Because it's like, if Brandon's getting abused by his dad, and that's why he's a bully, that's one explanation. How come the other 300 students in the hall are all like, loser?
Yeah, that's the thing, too. Like,
Where's their abusive backstory?
Yeah, like, because I know that one, like, cycle of abuse, but also I understand that most humans pick up behaviors from someone.
Most people learn behaviors from other people.
Rowan and Nikki, they have a sleepover where she tells her, if you remember last season when Rowan told Haley about her 21-year-old,
yes,
Haley was like, ew.
Mm-hmm.
Then she tells Nikki,
this.
And then Nikki is like, oh, wow, that's cool. Don't be ashamed. Boys our age are lame. And Rowan's like, all boys are lame. And then Nikki says she's been with an older man herself. It was actually their middle school gym coach.
Ew.
Who was married.
Which,
and over
him
40.
being married is not really relevant.
I just mean he had a family. Like, he's like a proper adult.
I believe he was the freshman gym coach, not the middle school one.
Oh, okay.
She says it was before she and Sean got together.
Okay.
But she apparently knows that he's now, I was about to say dating, gross. He's now fucking a freshman.
They just say that. They just say, I hear he's with a freshman flyer now.
Who's a freshman flyer?
I think it's part of the cheer team.
Yeah.
That's what I took from context.
Because, yes, okay.
The flyer is the person in, like, a stunt group that goes into the air.
Into the air. Well,
okay.
Yeah, apparently he's been fucking one of the freshmen.
Which means, you know what that means? They're very small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Yes.
But, like, Nikki, I know you've checked out of Life After Dunbar, but why are you just sitting on that? Because they both are just like, ew.
He's such an asshole. Ew. And it's like,
boys.
Agree with us, the viewers, that that's gross. So, like, turn him in.
Mm-hmm. But now we're going to see the broad power of King Cobra. Because Haley is walking down a street.
It doesn't explain why she's out at night. She's just dressed like she's trying to freeze to death out on the streets.
That is something I will say that made me feel so old this season. Every time it's like, I understand it's warmer, but like it'll be like 11 p.m. and they're just out alone in like a
shorts and a crop top.
And I'm like, that's fine. The outfit is fine, but like, can you at least have a sweater around your waist? Where are you carrying your keys?
Well, she doesn't carry a phone, keys, or any way to protect herself.
She's
being actively stalked, but she has no interest in self-preservation.
She like wants to be a walking Jane Doe. She like, doesn't even have a license.
Well, yeah, so she's walking down the street, and she passes what else? The thing we all see when we're walking down the street, an electronics shop selling TVs in the window. That common thing that hasn't existed in maybe 25, 30 years.
That's so funny, oh my gosh.
She's walking...
I can't... I want to see... I want to see where this area is, because I can't even imagine an area in New Mexico where...
Let's go look up the clip.
Okay. Like, that store is very clearly not in business. Look at it. It's like...
TV.
Up. TV.
30-year service. And I don't... And so, look, she's looking in there, and she sees Sean in his pool. Dead. And then we're going to see another adult ignore her in a second here. But she's just, like, looking at it. That's not great. Okay. Huh? What? Static. This message brought to you by King Cobra.
Wow.
So that scene happens, and she's now worried. She's worried Sean is in danger. So she rushes off, and that's where episode 5 ends. So she rushes back to his house, and he's just sitting there playing Serious Sam, And she looks in the pool, expecting to see his body. No body, but instead finds one of his shoes in the pool. She doesn't fish it out. She runs inside. Sean is fine. Sean is completely dry. There's no evidence that he was wet at all. And he hugs her and he says, "Babe, nothing's happened to me. I'm fine." And at some point, they talk about, like, she says, like, it doesn't matter. Basically, they start milling around the room, just kind of relaxing. And Sean says, Brandon's going through a tough time. I was supposed to text him back, but he's actually supposed to be coming over. Because, like, he's going through a really tough time with his dad. We know now that his dad is abusive. And that Brandon has sometimes been staying over at Sean's house instead. And so even though, presumably, Haley should know that Brandon is a suspect, she says, "Oh, he can come over, no worries." And then he says, "I'd rather spend the night with you." And I'm like, why are you with Sean? Like, his friend is being abused. Yeah. Like, apropos of nothing else, right? Like, if we leave all the zoo shit aside and Monkey Man, your boyfriend just told you his friend is being abused, but he would rather just hang out with you than take care of that imminent situation.
Yeah.
Why are you with him? What an asshole. Why did you even bring it up?
Aw, but it's so sweet. He just wants to hang out with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the thing. Well, I don't know what they are. Because at a certain point, he just does not acknowledge her in public even a little bit. It's weird.
It's really weird. I don't remember what happened to cause that, and I watched the whole season twice.
Yeah. But here's the thing. She notices a picture on his nightstand, and it's from camp. And we see Sean and Brandon. And we see also this, like, Twin Snakes coat logo. That is the same logo that King Cobra uses.
Yes.
But they ignore that. But
Haley doesn't connect that dot.
But here's the thing that really matters. Okay. Do you remember in season 1 what Dunbar wanted most?
No. Oh, he wanted to be Romeo? Was that what
Well, no. What he personally wanted most, besides being Romeo and all that, was to be recognized.
Oh.
He just wanted Rowan and other people to recognize that he exists.
Okay.
Right? Because he comes back, he was only away for 1 semester, and everyone is acting like he's a new student. And he's like, I was here. We were all here. I was there with you. And nobody seems to remember who he is. And that sucks. Even the captions don't know his name.
Oh my gosh, that's so hilarious.
She's saying, "Is that Dunbar Rakes?" And the captions are like, "Is that Tama Rinks?"
And then Sean just says, yeah. And he just blows it off and he ignores it. Okay. Next day,
a Rinks.
Rowan is walking to see. So next day, Tama Rinks. So next day, Rowan is heading to school. She's heading to Brandon's to talk to him, and his dad's there. And he pulls out a stuffed frog from Brandon's backpack and says, "This here is fishy. Little dummy here thought it was a fish when it's a frog. Go show this to the kids at school and they'll yuck it up with you."
Yeah, he still carries it with him everywhere he goes. Old fishy. Ha ha ha. And then, like, Rowan is like, and she just leaves with the frog. And Brandon leaves in a different direction. And the dad just yucks it up as he walks back inside because he's an asshole.
Haley goes to tutoring with Noah Centineo, but then she doesn't. He's waiting for her. She did.
That's such a bad explanation. She sees him at the library, but does not speak to him, and then leaves him waiting.
Okay.
Goes to tutoring,
I'm just bringing
then
it
doesn't.
up because she's going to keep skipping it, and then it takes up like 5 minutes of the episode, her just not
you
going.
need to say what actually happened.
Haley's actions barely matter.
That's true.
Okay, so 2 girls, I cannot imagine this. So Alicia's in the bathroom washing her hands, and these 2 girls see her scars, and they're like, "You think she does that to herself?"
They're saying this out loud right next to her.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they're not even a sink apart. And then they're like, "Well, yeah, she's a cutter, obviously." And then she just runs out sadly. And we'll see those girls again later.
Yeah.
So then this time, Rowan is done being the victim. So she comes out to talk to Brandon. At first, he's just going to talk smack, and Trevor...
This is like after school.
And then Trevor is going to be mean to her. So she pulls out Fishy from her backpack, and she just holds him, Fishy, under her chin.
Very cutely.
And she looks at Brandon, and she's like, so I was just thinking we could do the project on our parents.
We could talk about our parents. And then Brandon's like, I have some thoughts about that.
He
and he kind of
gulps.
angrily looks at her and kind of gulps.
And Trevor is like...
What the fuck is this about? Huh?
But then they leave, and they drive off in a blue truck.
A blue pickup truck.
blue
And
Whoa.
I will say, I don't know if the show knew this, but this was very smart on Rowan's part, because she took a picture of the truck and she just said, is this Pigmania's truck? And then Haley says, yes, whose is it? And then she says, it's Trevor's, he's with Sean and Brandon. Now, there were 3 guys at the audition, but anytime they suspect that their stalker might be someone who knows them, everyone is like, no, couldn't be.
Yeah. Sorry, you started that with, I don't know if this is smart of the show. What was smart about that?
Because Rowan just said, look, is this the truck that taunted you? Because if she said, look, here's Trevor's truck. No, couldn't be Trevor.
That's true. Yeah.
I know him.
Yeah, these guys are assholes to Rowan directly. And one of them is dating Haley, but there's no communication there about, like, hey, you're bullying my friend. Stop. Nothing. Haley never confronts Sean about it, and anytime there's a suspect about whether or not they might be in the zoo, Haley especially just says, no, they're definitely not in the zoo, without any evidence. But yeah, so they've identified now okay. I should say, we as an audience have identified now that the people who harassed her at the audition were almost certainly Brandon, Trevor, and Sean. And that's her own boyfriend. But for some reason, continuing on from this episode, and as far as I can tell, to the end of the season, they still don't know who it was.
Yeah. Oh, here's...
Like, the girls haven't put together that these 3 were doing that. I don't know, I can't even express how confusing it is to me that they haven't drawn that conclusion.
Right.
Right?
This is just all par for the course for tagged.
Yeah.
This is very tagged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very tagged.
So Haley's gonna relapse and get some drugs at the skate thingy. And Noah Centineo sees her, and he's like,
He
no.
stops her before she can get the drugs.
Like, you know, he says, like, you're wasting my time, whatever. So they meet up at the abandoned church with Stinger to meet up with...
The girls meet up with Stinger.
They always are waiting in one of the pews having their chit-chat. And Haley is like, well, he's alive, so obviously he didn't make the video. So drop it.
Sean is alive, so he didn't make the video, so he's not in the zoo. And I'm like, that is the exact opposite of what I'm thinking. He's alive, therefore he was involved in the making of the video, therefore he is in the zoo.
Because if he was dead, what?
Yeah.
How would he make the video if he died?
I don't understand why these girls aren't learning more about the zoo while we are.
So here's the thing. They meet up with Stinger again, and here's the new briefing. And so here's what he lets them know about. So, Pigmania scares Blondie at the audition. Rabid Rabbit shoots Alicia with paintballs. And King Cobra says that scaring them ain't enough. So he informed them
of things that happened to them, and then informed them that King Cobra said that wasn't enough.
Okay.
Which I think should be not really that telling. I mean, they're still going.
Yeah.
Like, the zoo is still harassing them, right?
Yeah.
Or are they?
Yeah. No, I mean, they get several flashes each episode.
Right, the Sean thing.
Yeah.
In the pool, and they're still getting messages
episode,
on their phones. So, like, yeah, that's par for the course. Yeah, Stinger, you didn't tell him anything.
And so they're talking about the 4 girls, and Alicia's like, is someone else getting messages? Haley, didn't you make the Romeo page with someone else? So couldn't it be someone else? And then Rowan's like, no, I asked Nikki if she had ever heard of Monkey Man, so it couldn't be her. And then... Well, that's later, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's just astonishing that they're not, like... They're still not connecting dots, right? And is it at this point that Stinger brings up the messages from Monkey Man?
We already did that.
No. They come back to those messages.
Oh, right, yeah.
With the initials. Is that here?
Oh, yeah, so there's like a message.
Yeah, so...
We'll see it again.
Wait.
Okay, yeah.
So Monkey Man said, those 4 girls need to pay.
Oh, yes.
And then someone else on the zoo said, who are they? Name them. And then Monkey Man responded, I'll give you initials.
Okay.
EHRN.
Alicia.
So Nikki.
Rowan. Haley. Nevin?
No, nobody?
Nobody.
Neville?
Knucklehead.
Knuckles? I don't know who it could be. It could be anybody with an N to start their name. And again, this is at the same time Alicia's bringing up, didn't you start the group with Nikki? And then they're just like, nah, it couldn't be Nikki. And they just blow her off and move on. And it's
because
like,
Rowan
what the
has
shit?
Because Rowan, and like, I don't think this was intentional, but I don't know how else to take this, because Rowan is now buddy-buddy with Nikki, way more than she's ever been with Alicia, and Nikki is also not poor.
Yeah.
So
again, Rowan's ability to be completely blind to the people around her. She's not aware. It is Nikki who's the 4th girl.
Yes.
But Rowan doesn't think it is Nikki because she's not paying attention, which is exactly the same thing. The one thing she was supposed to learn when Dunbar killed himself was that she should pay attention to the people around her.
Yeah.
And she didn't learn the lesson.
okay.
It's the one thing she was supposed to learn.
Well, forget all that noise.
Oh, sorry.
Because Haley, seeing Sean in the pool, wondering if he was dead, that made her realize it was wrong of her to try to end things on her own.
Oh my
terms.
gosh.
Yeah.
So she apologizes to Alicia for worrying her.
Yeah. I'm sorry, because when I saw Sean dead, I thought, that's sad. And I understand now that you were sad that I might have died. So I'm so sorry.
So then...
And the show is like, wow, what a good moment.
So Alicia tries to go up to Ash, and she's like, look, I'm sorry, like, but you're not talking to me. And he's like... He breaks up with her, even though his face makes it clear. And
he keeps looking at the door, and he's like, you shouldn't be here. Because earlier, we forgot to mention this. Earlier, he got a text, but we didn't see who... We saw it was from King Cobra, but we didn't see what it said.
Okay.
And now he's telling her, we're through. I don't want to see you anymore. You shouldn't be here. And he's like gesturing towards the door, and she's not picking up
and
what he's
she
putting
literally,
down.
and he's like, why don't you get it? I don't want you anymore. And then she just says, okay, and leaves. And I'm like, ma'am,
He was clearly
I've never
trying to communicate.
seen a man more under duress.
Also, he's under duress. He's not saying... He's not saying what really happened, which is that he's being threatened and that he's under duress and that she's being threatened too. He's saying what his text said was like, if you talk to her, we'll kill her, we'll kill you, whatever. And like he's not saying that, but like I feel like there's like a dozen ways he could get that message to her, right? Like they can't be watching him 100% of the time. So just write a note and hand it to, like, your boss at the coffee shop and say, my girlfriend may come in while I'm working. And when she comes in, I want you to interrupt our conversation and hand her this envelope. And then I don't speak to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Couldn't you do that? I don't know. It seems like a possibility.
That's too smart for this show.
You'd have to talk to an adult to do that.
That's true, and adults don't want to help.
Yeah, they turn a blind eye to blood balloons.
The only thing adults want to do with teens is groom them. Right?
Not a good precedence for this show.
Yeah, well, anyway, after all that, we see Alicia driving around at night. And this is, now that I think about it, this is another thing the show does that the characters put themselves, like, it's like the writers had an idea for a scary scene, but they had no reason for the characters to be there.
Yes.
But they just put the scene there anyway.
Yeah.
So Alicia is completely unmotivated, driving around at night. No explanation of where she's going or what she's doing or why she's driving around at night, but she's driving around at night, and then in front of her, she sees someone in like a panda mask or something, holding an axe and wearing almost no other clothes. Is that the scene? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's such a good scene. And she slows to a stop.
Yeah.
It's a hammer, I guess. She slows to a stop in front of this person, and then other zoo members start surrounding her car. She gets a phone call. She parks the car and reaches down for her phone. And when she sits back up, oh, there's a guy in a wolf costume, and he's holding the wheel, and she starts gunning it with her truck. And for some reason, she hasn't thought to buy any pepper spray. And she's driving around, and this guy is trying to get into the truck. And, oh my gosh, it's so scary. These guys are... I don't know why she's not hitting them with her car.
Or like...
Like, why not just hit them with your car?
Like pulling...
Why did you park?
Like pulling maneuvers with the car. Like, I understand maybe you can't turn the wheel because he's holding it. But, like, brake suddenly. Or, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
or how about this? Rip his mask off and start punching him in the teeth.
Yeah.
Like...
Or, again, you have been stalked by a group of people who want to kill you. Carry any form of self-defense. Anything at all. A pair of nunchucks. Pepper spray. Just a big old wrench. Just anything. You could carry... A gun would be cool, but you don't have one, except we later find out she does. But she's not carrying the gun with her. No. Dude, if she had the gun that we see later in the season, now, imagine if he reached into the car being all scary, she pulled it out and just blew his head off right there in the car. The zoo won't fuck with you now. He's dead.
Like, I'm just thinking, why would you stop driving?
You see them in front of you, in your car. Here are the two things that happen if you gun it. Either you hit her and you get away, or you don't hit her because she ducked out of the way. Yeah. And then you get away. Why are you slowing down? Like they're going to have something nice to say to you.
If we could just talk this out, and you could explain your action.
And then she gets a call, and she I better look away from everybody. I better reach down and grab my stupid phone. Like, it reminds me of when Dawson's dad died in Dawson's Creek. He's eating ice cream, and he drops it on the floor, and then he just reaches down while driving and swerves the wheel into a fucking tree. Like, what are you doing, you dimwit? Are you kidding me? You have a plan? Or are you just trying to get yourself killed?
Yeah.
He was just so happy driving.
He was very happy driving.
Singing a song, like, foolishness. But also, why did he want that scoop? It fell at the bottom of his car.
He didn't want
to taste the ice cream.
He didn't want it to melt.
Sure, it landed among the dirt and, detritus of the floor of his truck.
Alright. Well, episode 7.
Golly.
So
we're halfway through the season. How much have we learned about the zoo?
We know that it's a forum that is targeting bullies, but for some reason they're only targeting Dunbar's bullies.
Yeah.
One thing we forgot to mention, and tell me if this would be helpful in your investigation if you were any of these three girls. Okay. We find out that most of the zoo members go to their high school.
Oh. So you could just try and figure out like, it can't be that hard to figure out, right?
You could just grab a yearbook.
Yeah.
You would think.
Nah, no. Okay, well, remember those two girls who were bullying Alicia earlier? Now they're doing it again. They're trying to take off her long sleeves so that they can record her scars because nobody believes them about the
they're
scars.
physically ripping her clothes off so that they can see and film her scars.
Like bullies do.
Which is exactly what bullies do, exactly.
And the perfect teacher runs in and she's like, "Are you filming this?" And then they run away and then she just lets them go and then Alicia's like, "Leave me alone," and she leaves.
She runs away too, yeah.
Great.
And again, this is like, why didn't you chase, like, you live right next door to Alicia. You know you'll see her again.
Right.
Why didn't you chase down the bullies?
Yeah. And then,
Or at least note their faces so you can, like, they can be in trouble later. No. Nah.
Rowan and Nikki, they decide they're going to have a sleepover. Later on, Rowan invites Zoe to the sleepover. And they're like the cool, edgy girls. And they're going to have a... Trevor says some dumb stuff to Rowan. Like, she's just walking. He goes out of his way to approach her. And he's like, "Hey, guys, anyone have a gun? Because I need to blow my face off looking at her." And then Brandon...
Yeah, he's walking around school going, "Does anybody have a gun? Do you have a gun?" And I'm like, I feel like that kind of conversation would be really weird in a school.
Yeah, you can't say that.
You really can't, because, like, I would, like, if somebody misheard you at a distance and just heard the word gun,
I mean,
I don't know.
Even aside from that, asking anyone if they have a gun at school, like,
is just
you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't.
In New Mexico, they keep their guns to themselves.
Yeah.
But Brandon, he pulls Trevor up to the wall, and he's like, "If you even talk or look at her again, I'm going to tell everybody about that night. Leave her alone. It's tired. It's old. Quit it." And Rowan, which is bizarre to me, looks at him like, "Whoa, why did he defend me?" And I'm like, "Girl, you blackmailed him last episode.
Yeah,
do you forget, Fishy?"
Are you not aware that you're blackmailing him? What do you mean?
And literally, she's not. At the sleepover, they're all talking about... So Zoe got expelled from her old school because she made a, like, fashion page just, like, ragging on girls, like, kind of like it was a fashion blog, but, like, what not to wear, mocking them, that she made it public, got expelled.
Okay.
Nikki admits she used to be Rowan's bully, and then Zoe's like, "Well, what about you? Who'd you bully?" And she's like, "I don't know. I guess I'm more of an accidental bully. I bully my dad."
It's like, no, you don't bully your dad. You gotta own it. If you're a bully, you're a bully, and everybody's bullied someone, which I don't think is true, but whatever.
And then she's like, "I don't know. I just get bullied a lot." And I'm like, "Yeah, why don't you remind Zoe about the, like, blood balloons?" And even before, in season 1, before we even knew about all this stuff, they were just mocking her because, if you remember, her mom had an affair with a science teacher.
Yeah.
So she's always been on the bottom of the totem pole. And then Zoe just gives her advice, "Look, what you got to keep in mind is basically they're obsessed with you because you're always on their mind. Your name's always in their mouth."
And they think of you way more than you think of them.
Which is like...
Not true.
Which is like,
true, but she says you got to think of them like your friends. And I'm like, that's not true. That I don't know.
I think
what
she
the
said
fuck you're saying.
fans.
She said friends.
Friends? Oh, I thought she
Friends.
said fans. Okay.
At least the
Well-
subtitle said friends.
Well, they don't even know Dunbar's name.
They don't. Yeah, that's true.
Who knows what they said?
Tom, is that Tom or Rinks?
Tom Rinks.
I really want to say my follow-up question to that, but
Yeah,
I can't
I know.
yet. Okay. Okay, so then Rowan, I guess they didn't sleep over because next she goes to Brandon's roof and they have this heart-to-heart. They almost kiss. They both talk about how they feel terrible having forgotten Dunbar, and then later...
Yeah, and does Brandon admit at this point that his mom did not send him the clip of Dunbar? He says, "I actually cut it out myself because we went to camp together and we went to school together, and I feel horrible about... He was defending me, and I immediately turned on him, and I feel horrible because I was such a bad dude.
Yeah.
And then they have this touching moment. Do they actually kiss at this point?
No, they go
almost
down.
kiss.
They climb down the ladder, and he like pins her against the ladder, and he's like, "Are you gonna forgive yourself?" And she's like, "Are you?" And then she pushes past him and leaves.
And it's very the sexual tension is very high, even though he has been such an asshole to her.
Oh yeah, that was part of what they talked about on the thing. It's so weird, and I'm like, okay, she held up Fishy to Brandon and basically said, "I dare you to make fun of me right now. I dare you." And he stopped making fun of her. But then she talks to him and he's like, "Well, you definitely could have roasted me, but you didn't. So I think you're like, you don't deserve all like the crap you get. I think you're a nice person." I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. These people have weird standards.
All right, next torture scene to show you. I'm just going to let you see this. Keep in mind, Haley is going to meet Hawk for some tutoring, and then this happens.
So Hawk, Noah Centineo, sends her a text saying, "Meet me on the rooftop of this building," gives an address, and I will show you what I live for. Because earlier he was saying, "What do you live for?" And so she says, "Okay, I'm just going to go at 10 p.m., middle of the night."
Which, by the way, this says Gold Street.
Here she goes.
This is Gold Street,
Yeah.
Middle Street.
This is Gold Street.
It's like downtown in a sketchy area, so you don't want to be there at 10 p.m., yeah.
Is Haley dressed nicely for downtown?
I
just would like her to I guess she has her phone in her pocket.
Sweatpants.
Well, she's like, at 400 Gold Street, she goes in, and this is amazing to me. This is some kind of office building.
Yeah.
And the idea that a high schooler can walk into an office building in the middle of the night, no key card required, press a button, and presumably make it to the rooftop from the elevator is crazy.
I just really wish she had a flannel sweater.
Okay.
Just, it can be fit, just a little sweater.
That's because you're a Californian. Well, anyway, she goes there. She hits 12, which is not the highest floor in that building. But, the zoo is here.
Hurry, door closed, door closed.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Guess what? Gas grenade.
That guy was just camping out on the side there.
He was just waiting.
I don't know how she didn't see him before she walked up to the elevator.
Well, guess what? She's getting gassed. Here it is. Savor this moment, Haley. You were gonna go see Noah Centineo, and new flash from King Cobra. Your death will look like an accident.
How?
Will it?
Yeah.
You took...
She died from not smoke inhalation, but gas grenade attack?
I also like that apparently King Cobra was taken because he has to spell it with 2 R's.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't address that either. And this definitely looks like an accident. A World War I era accident. What the fuck are you talking about?
And then here's the best part. Okay. I feel like if you have time to check your texts, you have time to hold your breath.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like, how long do you have to hold your breath, though?
I feel like long enough, because she pushed, like, the panic button, which locks it down.
Yeah, that was a bad idea as well.
I feel like you could turn that off, maybe, or open the door. Do something to get out while you're, instead of checking your phone. I can hear from my death will look like an accident when I'm alive. Because right now, that does nothing for me.
I don't know why she doesn't just try to leave the elevator when she sees them approaching.
Yeah, they weren't really even blocking it in.
They were very far away initially. And she hits closed door. Because if they make it into the elevator, what are they going to do?
Because here's my... okay, now I don't know what I would actually do in this situation because I've never been in one. But I feel like my thinking now, preparing for when this eventually happens to me...
Yes.
I feel like I would see the gas, be scared or whatever, cover my breath, and then just pick, instead of floor 12, just pick the next floor.
Yeah.
And then just wait, like, what? Would it even be 20 seconds to get to the next floor? And then just leave.
Yeah, that's...
And then take the stairs the rest of the way and continue your day. Find out what Noah Centineo lives for.
My thinking would be you take the gas grenade and stick it in your mouth and just inhale deeply to try to get all the gas out of the grenade. And then you'll be safe. There's no more gas grenade. Safety first.
But yeah. So, episode... Oh, yes.
That clip was the end of episode 7. Weirdly enough, episode 8 starts with Haley is back at home, and Rowan and Alicia are there, and she's like, I don't know what I would have done if the elevator doors hadn't opened. And I'm like,
what did you think was gonna...
Couldn't we have seen that? Also, like, if she got off the elevator on in this building, was somebody else on, like, the 4th floor, like, watching the doors open, and then, like, there's an unconscious teenage girl in there, and a bunch of deadly gas flowing out, and they go, oh, jeez, and just drag her out of the elevator, kick the grenade aside, and go home?
I have no idea.
Which is presumably what adults would do in this situation.
Yeah. Or they would just, like, step over her while they put on their gas mask, and they're like, golly,
I hate it when people throw gas grenades. And then they come out, and the zoo members are down there at the bottom, and they're like, you kids, and then just leave.
But yeah, she made it out. They just say, she's like, I don't know what I would have done if the elevators hadn't opened in time. And I'm like, that's such a coward move, not bothering to show us that. Like...
Yeah.
Especially because that's not even, like, I figure the doors would open eventually.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about?
I also think... Like, wouldn't it have been better to show, like, a dramatic rescue scene? It's not like it's going to be more difficult to shoot than the scene that we just watched. All you have to do is continue filming, and then the doors open and her rescuer is standing there and like, oh my god, 911 or something. No, they don't call 911 because nobody came. I don't know how she got home. They just don't feel like explaining it. Again, this is one of those things where, like, this time, they came up with a reason for her to be there, but most of the time, they don't have a reason for them to be in those dangerous situations at all. Anyway, they're all still talking, and they're like, what were you doing there at 10 p.m.? Mm-hmm. And she says, I was going there to meet my tutor. Now remember, Alicia has seen this guy and suspects him of being in the zoo. But, even though it would have been an interesting way for them to find out that he's the same guy, they don't mention it. They don't talk about it. She doesn't even say his name.
She just says, she immediately says, he's not part of the zoo if that's what you're thinking.
And that settles it.
Here's the next thing. And this is when I really started to be annoyed with these girls for how they treat Alicia. Alicia says, I think N is Nikki because she made the thing with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, then Rowan's like...
They reiterate,
but I asked her about Monkey Man, and she said she never heard of him, so it couldn't be her. And then they were like, and then Haley's like, and she wasn't tagged in the first video from season 1. And then Alicia says, what if she's working for Monkey Man, and she didn't have to get tagged in that video because she had already paid?
Yeah, like, girls need to pay.
First of all, how did Alicia put that together? Because they barely put together what a forum is.
Yeah, they don't have a fucking clue how this works. But she put together this, and she's completely right, by the way. Her prediction here is 100% true, and both girls completely dismiss her.
And then Alicia says, okay, but Dunbar was right in front of you, and you didn't notice that.
Yeah, like, Rowan's like, I would know if it was Nikki. It's like, what do you mean you would know? Dunbar was right in front of you, and you didn't notice that. And Haley's like, unfair. That's so unfair. And it's like, maybe it would be unfair if you didn't just blow off everything Alicia says every time.
But also my thing is, like, can we stop focusing on how I'm saying things and focus on the what I'm saying? Because we have got no leads.
Yeah.
We meet up with a guy at an abandoned church, and for some reason, we haven't asked him to do anything actually helpful yet, other than tell us that we are being targeted by people who think we're bullies. Okay.
Rogue, do you feel like these girls are investigating correctly?
I feel like they are investigating the same way they did in season 1.
Exactly.
Which is
Good.
not a good thing that you want to say about a show.
Not a good thing you want to say about Tagged, because if you were talking about a different show and you were like, Sherlock Holmes in this show investigates the same way they investigate in Tagged, that would be a extreme insult.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, some flyers went all over the school saying, like, Rowan, worthless, slut, bad.
Whatever. It's got a picture of her face, and it's all these black and white posters, and she walks into school and she looks so scared and confused, and they're all over the school, and everybody's looking at these flyers and they're going, oh, it's her, he 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 he. And I'm like, if this ever happened in my school, I don't think it would be strange for almost everyone to start taking these posters down.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine, like, it's not even like a one or two people would be white knights and start taking them down. I think everyone would be like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? This is so uncalled for. This is clearly bullying, and I don't need to be part of this. Get this off my fucking locker. Get the couple of them that are within my reach out of the way, and if I see another one, I'll take it down too.
They're all over the entire school.
There's literally hundreds of them on every wall.
And I'm just thinking, like, honestly, okay, so clearly these staff at this school do not care about student safety or general well-being. Fine.
The janitorial staff also doesn't care about the student safety because some of the posters are just on the floor, and I'm thinking to myself, these kids are going to slip and fall. There are loose pieces of paper on linoleum tile. They are going to fucking die.
That's all well and good. But here's my thing. Teachers do not get to print that much stuff. And they used up, like, all the paper in the school?
Hundreds of sheets of paper. Tons of ink. A picture of a girl with dark hair prominently featured on this thing that was photocopied hundreds of times is going to use up all the ink and all the paper. And still no one cares. Not even from a selfish perspective. The teachers don't give a shit.
But Trevor comes up and he's like, haha, someone did it. And then she's like, I know you must have done this. And he's like, what are you talking about? I have Twitter. Then
No, he says, I have Twitter. And then, first he says, she's like, I know you must have done this. And he says, what are you talking about? I don't have a printer. Which is such a weird way to prove you didn't do it.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't have a printer? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But then
The
she's like, yeah, you just want to put me on blast. Say whatever you want. He's like, I already do that on Twitter.
Which is so weird that he just tweets about this one girl he doesn't like. Like, what a wonderful page you've got.
At Rowan sucks. Fuck her.
But anyway, so the perfect teacher walks by and she's like, Rowan, are you okay? She's holding some of the flyers. And then Rowan says, actually, no. Trevor made this. And she pulls out the original one. It's like color copy. Mm-hmm. And she says, I found this in Trevor's backpack. It's the original. Here you go. And then he says, actually, it was Brandon. He was bragging to me about it.
And I took it.
Yeah. And so then the teacher's like, Trevor, come with me. I don't care about your excuses. I don't care whether it was Brandon or you or whatever. You're in trouble. Mm-hmm. And come with me. And then before he leaves, he turns to Rowan and he says, don't try to trick me. I'm the fucking king.
Oh.
And then
she's like, King Cobra, maybe?
Oh. And then she kind of smirks to herself. And
like, at the camera.
At the camera. So, like, the implication is like, oh, she put the posters up. That's why she had the color. Because we didn't see her find it in his backpack or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he didn't call her on it right then and there.
He does say, you liar. But
then he sells out Brandon, even though, like, he should just say, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But he sells Brandon down the river Just because.
He's mad about him standing up for Rowan.
Yeah, and so Trevor's gonna go get in trouble, and Rowan set Trevor up by besmirching her own good name.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, clever, but in a minute we're gonna find out she doesn't...
Again, she doesn't realize.
She doesn't realize she set him up.
What?
So,
And we'll explain that later in a second.
they've decided they're going to... Remember, I don't know, was this like 5 episodes ago? I mentioned Rowan found a locker combo?
Yes.
Oh my god, shit, yeah. It was so
this
long
is...
ago.
Episode 8 is when they're going to start checking lockers.
Wow, payoff.
I'll let you know now. It ends up being Sean's locker. Did not need to go all over the episode like this.
Sean, who, by the way, we already know is in the zoo.
He was in the same
yeah.
truck, has the same hoodie.
He was in the video, drowned.
Yeah.
Like, we as an audience should already know. For some reason, the girls don't know Sean is in the zoo.
Now it's confirmed.
And, yeah. What else happens? Well, we'll get to what she finds in the locker at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But
But just so you know,
More
that's
stuff
who the combo belongs to. Noah helps Haley. She says she's been thinking about what he asked her. She likes to draw and sing. She sings in a quiet library voice. And, you know, it's a Liam.
It's whatever. It's
one of
really
her
charming and
songs.
cute. Ha-ha.
Great. They're happy. Rowan sees Brandon cleaning up. And then he's like, you know I didn't
cleaning
do
those posters.
You know I didn't do this. And she's like, yeah, I know, Trevor did. And he's like, no, you did. And then he says, Trevor could never do this. This is a work of art.
Oh my gosh.
And it's really not. It's not.
It's a ransom poster with her face on it and insults. But honestly, with what we've seen of Trevor, consistently gives really bad, not really even anything insults that don't stick. One time he was like, oh, you got some blood on your face. When she does it, he's like, oh, right, I guess it's that time of the month. And she's like, that doesn't even make sense.
And he
like,
goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure it does, actually.
So, yeah, I don't think he could put she put too many big words on the insult poster for it to be
That's
him.
really sad.
But then...
After, Brandon and her have a conversation about
And then
stuff, and then
it's really weird because this is going to come up a few times. We do not need to follow up on this, but finally she's going to come forward and say she did do it. And I was like, yeah, to frame Trevor.
Right.
So he would stop bullying you.
Right?
But
that's what you think, Rowan, right? And she says, what does she say her reason is?
She says, well, he's always saying that about me anyway. I might as well take away the surprise. And then Brandon says, no, I don't think that's
why you did it. And we're like, oh, okay, Brandon's gonna like see through her bullshit and say, you framed him. That's very clever of you. And then he goes, no, he says, I think the reason that you put these posters up is because some part of you believes it.
Oh my gosh.
I don't, what? Why is the show not giving its own characters credit?
Because she can't possibly be a bully in any way. Because then she
That's not bullying.
What's coming. I don't know. But, okay, so she finally opens Sean's locker. And in it, we find...
Brandon goes away eventually, and then...
This, oh my gosh. Tell me what you think of this. Okay, so she finds the pig mask in Sean's locker. Immediately calls Haley. Haley's taking a nap in her bedroom. And Sean's in her room.
Standing over her ominously.
Ah, yes, like Edward.
And then...
Yeah.
And she looks over, sees Rowan calling. Doesn't even, it's... Not even
hesitation.
a second passes. She just hits ignore.
Oh my gosh.
She just hits ignore.
That's why, no wonder they never talk to each other. No one wants to listen.
Yeah, and then Sean gets into bed and starts cuddling with her, and then you see the text shows up on her phone, and it says, stay away from Sean.
He's Pygmania.
Sean is Pygmania. Stay away from Sean. And she literally fucking just ignored the call.
Amazing.
From Rowan. And I'm just like, are you guys trying to get yourselves killed?
Yes.
Because, Rowan is one of the 3 people being stalked. You're one of the other ones. If she's calling you... No matter what, it is almost certainly important. No. Ignore.
Yep.
Why not? I have to take this call. Or screen call and then say, what's up?
Yeah.
in a text.
Yeah. And
no, she just wants to cutely snuggle with this guy
Also
who is Pigmania, has been harassing her, and is also trying to fuck her. And is fucking
Isn't one of the points of this show, like, technology bad? Kids are on their phones too much. These kids are hardly on their phones. Especially when it's, like, actually important.
There's so many ways in which their phones could be useful, and they just don't use them. Like, when Alicia got stopped in her car, how come she didn't pick up her phone and start recording what happened? No. She didn't do that. Instead, she got distracted by her phone and missed them abruptly coming after her. And, like, why don't they start screen recording anytime they get a flash from King Cobra? No. That's too smart. They don't know how to do that. How come they don't take pictures of incriminating evidence? No. They never do anything like that. Like, Rowan could have taken a picture of Pigmania's mask right there at Sean's locker, put the mask back. Instead, she pockets the mask. And then, again, nothing comes of it because the show forgets she did that.
Yeah. The next meeting with Stinger, we find out that King Cobra and everybody, they're leaving the zoo forum, and now they're just going on to the King Cobra.
King Cobra started their own forum on the dark web, and then, amazingly, this blows my mind, he says several things in a row about the dark web that are true.
Wow.
Just accurate technological facts. He's like,
Still
you have to use a Tor browser to get in, it's a completely anonymous website, blah, blah, blah. The girls still don't fucking get it at all.
The other thing, too, though, is, like, even though those are technically true facts, they still go, like, lots of creepy, crawly weirdos there.
Yeah,
which I'm
that's
like,
really kind of...
Okay, like, I mean...
There are a lot of people who use Tor browsers and the dark web for a lot of different things.
There are, like, cops who use the dark web.
Yeah, the government uses it to transfer files. It's like a whole thing.
But anyway, whatever. So remember that play that Haley auditioned for?
Yes.
Oh, God, I forgot about this.
Well, turns out it was 12th Night.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they decided to go with, like, a space alien theme.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's like everybody's dressed in, like, if you remember the movie The Fifth Element, everybody's dressed like space stuff.
Okay.
And what happens in this performance of 12th Night is fascinating. And again, another sign that, well, you know what, here, why don't we just show the thing that happens, and then I'll ask my question. Rogue, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So, she's walking, she sees this guy in the horse mask, and she's, like, trying to not ruin the scene. And she's like, oh no, where the fuck did he go? And they're... Oh, the lights went out. The lights come back on. 4 nooses drop from the ceiling. Then Nikki runs over to Haley. She's supposed to be stage manager, I guess. But then...
Carried.
Was that Pigmania pouring fake blood on her? And everybody's talking. That's Trevor and Sean. So it couldn't have been Pigmania.
The end.
Here's my question. What would happen in your school if the school play got interrupted with that?
Like, what would happen immediately?
Not immediately. I mean, immediately, and also, like, how would the school handle it? How would the administration
There would be an investigation into the cast of the play, the cast and crew of the play, and the drama teacher.
Yeah, I mean, who would, like, you know, did your school have security cameras?
Not, I think just outside. I don't think we had them inside.
Just outside.
Yeah.
We had security cameras inside as well, so they could have looked at the security footage to see who went into the auditorium. Obviously, a lot of people went into the auditorium that night, but maybe they did some preparation beforehand, right? For the 4 nooses dropping from the ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, like, that would be something that you would want to have on some kind of trigger release. You could do a little investigation of that. Probably the police would get involved. In this show, nothing happens.
Of course not.
Nothing happens at all.
The next episode, I think they're all hiding out at Dunbar's house. I have no idea where they are, actually. Maybe it's Nikki's place, they don't say. But the four girls meet up. Nikki finally admits to knowing who Monkey Man is.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out she knew all along.
And no one gives Alicia any credit for having already called it.
They don't even give Nikki crap for not telling them.
They're just cool.
They're
with
just
it.
like, I think what it is, they don't realize that there should have been some expectation that she would share that information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? They don't understand what sharing information means.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We also, Nikki does have some information because when she was dating Sean, he mentioned the camp he always used to go to, and it was called Camp Torero. And it has the same logo that King Cobra has, those twin snakes.
Yeah.
And so, like, finally they're connecting that dot.
Okay.
Which, I mean...
It's episode 9. We got 3 episodes left.
Yeah, it's like, maybe okay that they're not connecting. They didn't connect that earlier because they're not seeing that logo everywhere for the camp. They're just seeing it for King Cobra. But, still, the kind of thing that they should be on the lookout for.
Okay. 2 things.
Oh, wait, real quick. I just want to say... Okay, so what do we know? What do we as audience members know about the zoo and Dunbar and the camp? Well, we know that Monkey Man was Dunbar, and the zoo presumably has a bunch of people in it. Trevor, Sean, Brandon, who are all at camp, and King Cobra uses the camp logo. So my next step in the investigation would be, let's see if we can get a hold of that photo from one of the many people we know who were at that camp. Sean, Brandon, one of these people who we're all close to, and talk to them, or just get the picture and whittle our suspects down to just people in that photo. At least try to identify everybody in the photo. They do not decide to do this. They do not even consider doing it.
Because that would require Haley doing something.
That would require Haley to do something, but even Rowan, she doesn't even think of it.
Yeah.
That would...
Normally this would be the time when Alicia would chime in with this idea, and then everyone would ignore her, but even Alicia doesn't come up with this.
But how are they supposed to coordinate with each other?
That's true. I mean, how the hell do they do that?
They don't have a forum.
I mean, even if they did.
Yeah, they don't know what that is. Okay. So, Haley meets up with Noah Centineo. They do some graffiti. That's what he loves to do.
That was the thing he wanted to go to the rooftop for.
Oh, so it wasn't a setup.
It wasn't a setup, except that, like, how did they know she would be there?
They're stalking her, I guess. It's
not explained. We later find out I don't know if we explicitly have it confirmed, but Noah Centineo is completely a red herring.
Oh.
He's not in the zoo. Even though he went to camp, he is not in the zoo.
Yeah, right now we don't really know, but he does not seem to really...
He doesn't do anything on his own. He doesn't do anything. We haven't seen him associated with an animal. We haven't seen him directly do anything dangerous.
Right. Okay, I think we mentioned this a few episodes ago, but Haley and Sean talked about running away to California together.
I don't know if we talked about it, but it doesn't matter. They talked about it.
It was so... Whatever, they talked about that. But now this episode, remember how Haley had a mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
I remember
That's
that.
another speaking adult.
Yeah. So, Haley is about to leave for school, and her mom says, "You bought bus tickets to California with my credit card."
Yeah, you stole my credit card and bought bus tickets to California.
And Haley, okay, first, before I get to Haley's brilliant response, if you, who lived in the same area, so it'd be the same price, used your mom's CC to just buy tickets to California one weekend.
Bus tickets.
Tickets. And she mentions this to you.
She notices.
How's that gonna go for you? You're a teen. You're 16.
My mom would take the tickets away.
Yeah. Would
Okay.
she be mad at you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Haley's mom is, I want to say she has, like, the patience of a saint. Because she's just like, hey, before you go, you stole my credit card and you bought bus tickets. When were you going to tell me? And
She says, it's not like I was gonna go.
And then she says, well, you know what? What's going on? What can I do for you?
She says, what do you need?
What do you need?
And
then Haley turns to her and says, Mom, don't you get it?
Yeah.
This isn't your job.
What?
And then just walks away.
It literally is.
Now, if you said that to your parent, how would that go?
Oh, I would not be able to just walk away after that.
I would not. Yeah, I'm not.
That's not the
leaving
end of the conversation.
house.
That's the beginning of the conversation.
I don't think I got a word out after you took my credit card and bought bus tickets.
Yeah.
I think at that point, conversation. See, no, Dad, when are you gonna get it? It's not your job to
Raise me?
I don't know.
I mean, like, what is my job as your parent? Like, you eat food in our fridge. You live in this house. I'm not saying parents need to be, like, authoritarian over their kids. But, like, isn't the whole point of having a parent that you've got someone who you can maybe ask for advice or, like, consult with or just, like, lean on for variety of different things?
Another thing too, when they're talking about going to California, they don't mention having relatives out there. Their plan is to sleep on the beach.
Yeah.
Their plan is to be homeless.
Yeah.
That sounds
In California.
right for a teenager.
One of the most expensive.
And honestly, Sean seems really hesitant about this idea anyway. By the way, it is crazy to me that he's even considering it because he's also Pygmania.
Yes.
This guy terrorizing her life. But, like, he's considering it and he seems really unsure about it. And then later on in the season, she's gonna get a text from him saying, "Okay, I'm at the bus station. Where are you?" And she doesn't show up.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Why did he want to go?
Also,
he has nothing to give up here.
I don't know.
He lives a beautiful life in a house he
lives alone.
lives alone in. He just gets to hang out and play video games all day. Doesn't even have to pay bills. Like,
Yeah, he just lives there. But okay, finally, so it's episode 9. We got 3 episodes left. The girls are like, what if we make our own Zoosona and then we can meet King Cobra?
yeah, we can
That-
sneak
Why
in and meet King
did it
Cobra.
take you
That's our
that
new
long
plan.
to decide on that? That would be like the first thing I tried.
Once you found out there was
Yes.
a forum that was completely anonymous
Yes.
and anyone... Oh, you...
I mean, Stinger says, "Oh, I'm gonna join the forum and kind of snoop around for you," and I'm like, "Okay, that's cool.
Why don't we all do that?
Why don't we all do that?"
Hey, I think Rowan, Haley, and Alicia are actually pretty nice.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
No,
Try to change the minds of the people in the forum, not yeah.
Okay. Alicia goes to...
We're gonna win this fight through hearts and minds.
Yeah. So Alicia goes to the grotto. She sees
The
Ash.
grotto is one of the abandoned buildings.
Yeah, I think that's
that Ashington.
I think that's the one that's at the rail yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're there, and she sees Ash and Zoe canoodling. Things are getting steamy between the two of them. Great. And then she gets a flash from King Cobra. It's a video. And she finds out...
This is
that-
such a crazy thing to find out.
Do you remember last season how her parents are dead?
Yeah.
Do you remember what they said in season 1 about how they died?
Fire. She started
Right.
a fire.
She started a fire. She had
Okay.
candles in her room.
And then she left. Well, this, which I have no... This is... Okay, it's not just adults. Cops, like, defund the police.
This
in
is
town.
dereliction of duty.
Because we see a giraffe mask pouring gasoline, not even near where the bedroom would have had the candles. but, like,
Around the entire exterior of the house.
Oh.
the sidewalk, on, like, all over the house, putting in gas, and we see this giraffe, and at the end, the giraffe takes
They
off.
light the match and throw it on, and the house is on fire, and it's clearly an arson. Because not just because we're seeing the video, but because, like, the sidewalk is on
Right.
fire. And so the police apparently didn't investigate this at all. But at the end of the video, you see the giraffe mask person from the zoo takes off their mask and looks into the camera, and it's Nikki.
So
Nikki burned down her home.
And killed her parents.
And is part of the zoo.
Which is, again, was Alicia's entire prediction. Nikki is the end. She wasn't tagged because she already paid. She paid by doing something for Monkey Man. All of that. She called all of it. Nobody gives her credit for it.
And again, feel it's important to mention, she took a teddy bear, and for that, she deserved to be an orphan.
Yeah, she got orphaned. And, like, not only is this so out of bounds of, like, what kind of revenge Dunbar wanted to do on her, it doesn't make any sense as that. But also, it really feels like it was not being set up in the first season. It was just a retcon to make Nikki more important. And so it feels very by the seat of the pants.
But now Alicia's kicked into high gear. She screams all the way home. She grabs Jake's gun. She goes to meet the girls at the abandoned church, and she took a
screenshot of Nikki's face.
Oh, she does know how to take screenshots.
She does know how to take screenshots, and you're thinking to yourself, like, it's a selfie view of Nikki's face with the light of the flames on her face, and she's looking like she's about to cry, even. Like, she's just that emotional about lighting this house on fire or whatever, but she's there. Clearly she's there. And Alicia meets with Rowan and Haley, and she says, I just got a video from King Cobra. It showed me how my parents' house, he killed my parents, and it was Nikki. Nikki burned down my house. And the two girls look at each other, and then they look at her, and they say,
it's editing tricks.
What?
It's just gotta be edit tricks. And she's like, no, you don't believe me? What the fuck? I took a picture. I took a screenshot. She shows a screenshot of Nikki looking at the camera, and they look at it, and they go, that doesn't prove anything.
But they believe everything else that they've seen.
Prove anything? Dog, I don't know how to tell you this. Not one video you've received, not one for the whole season, including going forward, includes any editing tricks. None of them include any editing tricks at all.
Yeah,
so, like, you got it in your head that they edited the video of Sean. All Sean has to do for the clip, you saw the clip, Rogue.
Yeah.
You saw the clip. All Sean has to do is lay still for a few seconds.
Yeah, he just has to float face down in a pool.
For like 20 seconds. I could hold my breath for 20 seconds.
And apparently couldn't bother enough to, like, he lost a shoe, couldn't bother enough to pick that up.
Couldn't be fucked about it. And so, like, they don't believe Alicia, even though Alicia saw the whole fucking video. And they've been through thick and thin with this girl. And they still can't they can't just take her word. I mean,
I really, like...
What the hell, guys?
I can't with these girls. I do not care what happens to the two of them. Because, again, Alicia, like, okay, I guess Haley
I would join the zoo and kill these two girls if I were Alicia. This is so fucking tiring.
I would be like, look, zoo, last year y'all kidnapped me, left me with this. Fine. I stole a teddy bear. Whatever, I guess. But now these girls won't even believe me, and they have
abandoned her. And you know what? You know what happened when this happened to Robin from Batman? He became the Red Hood.
Yeah, that's so true.
He betrayed Batman. He started killing people. How come Alicia doesn't get Joker fired?
This is her villain origin story.
It should be.
I'm ready for Alicia.
She's got a gun now. The gun she should have had to blow off that wolf's head. But no, she has a gun now. And she's like, I'm going to go see about Nikki.
She's like, I'm going to make her answer me. Answer for this. Because again, Nikki said, I never heard from Monkey Man until before the party.
Right.
Now we're finding out she was not only a member of the zoo, she killed Alicia's parents.
And so... Episode 10, all that ends is we see Nikki writing something.
Yeah, she's filling a bathtub and then getting a call from Rowan, and then she goes to write something, and then she hears a noise, and she stands up and steps out of the room with like a scared look on her face. And then we cut away from there.
Episode 10. Okay. It's the morning. Neighbors have all gathered around outside Nikki's house. She's dead.
And the cops are saying it's a suicide.
Rowan and Haley, they're standing together. They're like, do you think it was Alicia?
Oh my gosh.
And then they're like, no, I heard it was a suicide. And then Rowan's like, but she promised me that she would tell me if she was planning on doing something. And then Haley says, last time we spoke, she gave me a lecture about how if I had killed myself, it would have been so bad. And I'm like, that is so on brand for you, Tagged. You are so right. That is exactly what people keep telling Haley. Anyway, they're standing there contemplating whether or not this is a suicide. They're surrounded by neighbors and adults and paramedics and cops. And then they get a message from King Cobra, and it says, her death will look like a suicide. And then the other girl gets, accidents happen. And what I find so fascinating about this scene, it's amazing to me. Because they get these texts and they look at each other like, oh shit. And then they look forward, and in front of them, standing not even in the crowd, it's standing ahead of the crowd, closer to the paramedics, are 3 teenagers who turn around and they're all wearing raven masks. Like the bird.
Yeah.
Like they're all members of the zoo. And they start slowly walking towards the girls. And the girls just run away. And I'm like, this is the perfect moment to turn to a cop and say, hey, I think these 3 killed her.
Yeah, like...
There are dozens of people around.
There are neighbors, all kinds of first responders. This is arguably the safest place they've been the entire show.
And they run away.
Amazing.
Why the fuck are they running away?
So they meet up with Alicia at the first, before Alicia shows up, the girls are at some
church.
place. I think so. I don't know. They're by a computer. Then Stinger gives them a hold of everything that the cops have, including Nikki's suicide
he hacked
note.
right into the computer system, and they found Nikki's suicide note, which is already, by the way, these cops are very, very efficient at logging evidence, but they're not very good at investigating crimes.
Yeah, so this note literally, first of all, I'm like, wouldn't we want to figure out what this means? But no, we're not going to hear anything about it. Maybe season 3. I don't know. Let's see. Doubt it.
Alicia, I'm so sorry. I regret lighting that match. I didn't know there was anyone inside. Monkey Man had the tape of, this was a thing, that she apparently had a tape of her having sex with that coach that was mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. She had a video of it, and that got released to the school, and so she killed herself after that.
Oh.
And so she says, Monkey Man MM had the video of me and threatened to release it if I didn't comply. I can't, and that's where the note ends. No period, nothing else. No signature at the bottom. It just says, I can't. Mm-hmm. And the girls are looking at this, and Haley's like, wow, I can't believe she killed herself. Or murder? And then Rowan's just like, oh, well, she stopped at I can't. She didn't, she was interrupted. Something stopped her. Or someone.
Whoa.
And it's like, yes, obviously someone.
But, also, I'm like, she's still a murderer.
Yeah.
And,
the girls don't admit that they were wrong about...
So Alicia shows up, and they're like, so where were you? Did you do anything to her? Alicia's like, what do you mean? Shoot her? I can't believe... I wasn't, gonna do any of that. I just, left.
I got mad and I left.
Which is what Alicia does, anyway. So, yeah. I don't, But the fact that they don't even say, they're like, how are you feeling? And, Alicia's been blaming herself for her parents' death this whole time. So she's like, it doesn't bring them back and I feel terrible, but also I didn't kill them. So I'm feeling lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, that's fair. Good. At a certain point, they start, okay.
Real quick, we're 10 episodes in?
Yeah.
How much do you feel like you've learned? How much do you feel like they've learned?
They don't know anything. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what a forum
They
is.
don't have a fucking clue. They haven't got a goddamn clue what's going on.
Okay, great. I'm glad we got that. Okay, check this. Okay, so now they're finally, you know what? We've got to fight fire with fire. So they have Stinger make them a bomb.
Oh.
And the plan is they're going to fake Alicia's death.
With a bomb?
So that Rowan can get into the zoo. And that's what we saw in the very beginning of the season.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they set it all up. They've got a fake bomb and a real bomb. And then Rowan is recording the whole thing on her phone. And she puts the fake bomb on the truck. And then Alicia gets in the truck. She drives around the corner. And then when she drives around the corner, they remove the fake bomb, throw a real bomb in the truck, blow up the truck with Alicia not in it. Alicia lays down. They put blood on her head.
She is still so close to all the truck shrapnel.
Yeah, and also this is happening in a neighborhood.
Amazing.
And so, like, they have to go real quick. Rowan, in the one continuous take, she runs up with her phone. She films. Turns out they do know how to film things. She films the, not the truck explosion, but films Alicia laying there pretending to be dead with fake blood and the glass and stuff. And then she runs away and takes off the mask and shows her face or whatever for her to send to King Cobra. Meanwhile, Stinger and Alicia and Haley all get into Stinger's van and skedaddle before the cops presumably show up, say, "Hey, this fire's looking pretty big," and then leave. I assume that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because,
So-
again, we never hear about this again until
Of course not.
Jake later asks about what happened to his truck.
So, Rowan and Haley, they go. So Alicia's gonna hide out forever, and Rowan and Haley, they need to find Ash just so they can let him know she's fine. And it's all the plan is find him, fill him in. Which, like, I guess if only you guys were her friends, you could have done that for her much sooner.
Yeah, you could have gotten his fucking phone number or something.
But anyway, they're at the coffee shop looking for him.
Honestly,
and,
hold on. Just a thought. If Flash is such a fucking untraceable thing, why don't they send him flashes?
Oh, yeah.
How the fuck would King Cobra know? They can't look through the message history. It disappears.
I really want to ask my question, but I can't till next episode.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, all right. They go outside for some reason. I don't know. Maybe Ash is out in the alleyway. And this truck comes barreling towards them. Rowan pushes Haley out of the way. And
Is this the blue truck or a different
This is like a red or green. I don't know. It's a different one.
It's a
not,
different truck.
Yeah, it's not the same one. So someone else is going to run him over. Rowan's running. She's about to get hit when who saves her? Brandon.
Yeah, he swoops in from the darkness, and they have this moment where they're both breathing hard, and their noses are about to touch, and it's like, oh, how sexy that you saved me, even though you were my chief bully.
Yeah. So, that was episode 10.
Yep.
Episode 11, the girls are hanging out in, like, hideout with Alicia, and
Alicia's like, it hurts me so much that I can't talk to Ash right now. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you probably should have sorted that out before
she
you
literally
faked your
tells the
fucking
girls, I don't want to be alone right now. And then Rowan puts her hands on her shoulders, and she's like, I know, but I've got to go.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I have places to be, and, we'll come check in on you every few hours. And I'm like, check in on you every few hours?
Yeah.
Watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Eat some food, take a nap. Like, you just need to hide out for a few hours. Like, you're not like a toddler. You don't need to be checked in on every few hours. Presumably. Except that maybe she does.
Who
And also,
knows?
Sean
with
was
them?
at the coffee shop and he just ignores Haley, and she looks at him, and he, like, looks away. So doesn't that also confirm that he knew she was gonna get run over by a car.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, he sends her a bunch of texts like,
This is still before he's going to go meet her at the fucking bus stop.
So he sends her a bunch of I'm at the bus stop. Where are you? And that's fine.
And she doesn't go.
So here's the new plan. Okay, so Rowan's in. She got the invite to the party because she killed Alicia. So Rowan's got her deer mask on. She's going to the zoo party, and she's going to find King Cobra. But that night before, or I guess, I don't know, maybe a few hours before or something, Brandon rolls through to her place, and he says, I want to tell you something. And then he kisses her.
And she's like, you said you were going to tell me something. And he says, I think I just did. And I'm like, gosh. I think you just didn't. You just kissed her.
So Haley drops Rowan off at the zoo party, and we see lots of Zoosonas kissing each other and dancing, and
it's like a rave in an abandoned building. Okay. And they're like, everybody's got glow sticks and animal masks, and she's cutting through the crowd, this long hallway full of people drinking and doing drugs or whatever.
And then we see Rowan sees someone wearing a King Cobra mask, starts following
a Cobra mask.
Yeah. So she starts following him, assuming like that's probably King Cobra. We see Ash outside his job at the coffee shop, and he's smoking, and it's super cool because he takes like his joint and
he lights the joint,
inhales, then he turns it the other way so he can put it out with the smoke from his nose. Like he can put out
the flame itself, and he blows the smoke on the flame, and it looks super fucking cool. He does it so fast, and it's like, damn, I wish I was that cool.
Are you gonna try that next time?
I'm definitely gonna be doing it more when I smoke tobacco.
Yes.
Wink.
Yeah, I got a big cigar to try it out on.
Yeah. Wink.
So then he gets a message that Alicia is dead. So he runs to her place to knock on the door to see if she's there. Alicia needs help. She goes to knock on the perfect teacher's...
Wait. Before he gets there, Alicia gets skittish about being at home alone. And even though her one fucking job is to stay hidden so no one knows she's still alive, she leaves to go tell Ash. So while he's headed to her apartment, she's headed to where he was staying at the grotto.
Yeah, but also she knocked on the perfect teacher's door first, and the perfect teacher, unfortunately, was taking a shower. So
Alicia just ran.
Like, she waited 2 seconds and then ran to the grotto. So perfect teacher comes out like, ooh. Okay.
Oh, I guess so. I don't know.
So in a true Romeo and Juliet story, Alicia's at the grotto looking for Ash. Ash is looking for her. She texts him, I love you, I'm alive, or whatever.
And he's like, she says, I love you. And he's like, oh, thank God. Okay, great. She is alive. Oh, I was so concerned. And while she's at the grotto, you see, she's like looking around, and then from behind like a piece of debris or like a broken wall, you see an arm raise up in the background and snaps a photo of her with the flash on. And she turns and looks, and she doesn't immediately recognize that her fucking cover is blown. She just goes like, oh, what was that? Okay, whatever. And she keeps wandering around, and then Ash gets to the grotto looking for her, and she doesn't find him upstairs, and so she just sits down somewhere. And she's just like, oh, I wish I could find Ash. Oh. Which is like such an unhelpful, like, you're out in public, you're doing the one thing you're not supposed to be doing, and you're not looking for Ash.
She gets a message from King Cobra saying, we thought you were dead. And they show the picture they just took that she saw someone take of her, but I guess she didn't put that together. So she texts Rowan, you got to get out of there. So Rowan is like, okay.
Cover is blown, you have to run away.
So she's like, okay. So she just hurries to follow King Cobra, rips his mask off. We see it's Brandon. He grabs her necklace and yanks it off her, and he's like, Rowan,
wait.
And then she runs away. Okay, hold on. I just need to set this up.
Okay.
Rowan runs out to Haley's car because Haley was waiting there for her at the party.
Mm-hmm.
They book it like a librarian out of there.
At the same time, Ash gets shot.
Yeah, Alicia hears a gunshot, and she runs downstairs, and she sees, riddled with bullet holes, even though there was only one gunshot, Ash is laying there bleeding out, and she's crying, and she looks at his phone, and so dramatically framed. Her last text to him is, "I love you," and his last text that he's typed out is, "I love you too," but he hasn't hit send, and there's a bloody thumbprint right above the send button.
Oh no.
And he's laying there dying.
And the thing
she's like sobbing, and it's very dramatic, and she calls 911, and that's where episode 10, not 11? Oh, no, that's where episode 11 ends.
Yeah, now we're at the last.
So, beginning of the last episode of the season.
Okay.
I need to be clear. Ash and Alicia were at the grotto. Haley and Rowan were at the zoo party at a different abandoned building.
Yeah, completely unrelated locations, and they are both happening simultaneously.
Okay.
They get to the hospital at the beginning of episode 12. Rowan and Haley run in, and Alicia is already there, and Alicia's crying, and they say, "What's going on? What happened to Ash? He got shot. They think it's in his stomach or his heart or something. I don't know. There was so much blood." And she sits down and she's crying, and then Rowan says, "It was Brandon. Brandon was King Cobra."
Wait. Okay.
At this moment,
what is your next question?
If you're Haley, what do you have to say right now that is not completely stupid?
Who shot Ash, or like why did that happen?
That's a great question. Those are great questions. Instead, she asks.
Yeah.
Those again, another great question. Instead, Haley asks maybe the stupidest question of the whole show.
Did Brandon shoot Ash?
What? No.
And I was like, baby, no.
Honey, no, object permanence. Oh.
And like, it's so funny because I was like, are they trying to do like a dumb blonde sort of gimmick with Haley or
but
what?
It's not supposed to be comedic.
Because she asks with the most dead serious expression. She's like, did Brandon shoot Ash?
Maybe.
Is Brandon capable of such a thing? And then Rowan looks at her and then just looks back to Alicia.
And continues to talk about other things. And like, I feel like the show wants us to think that was like a dramatic question. Mm-hmm. But like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Maybe they didn't, maybe they thought they had to explain that to the audience.
But they don't answer the question.
Yeah, because they were like, well, this is such a stupid question. It doesn't require an answer. But, like, maybe people need that explained.
I mean, like, I would love to see... I don't know. It's just insane... It's insane. Because it's like... Honey, he was in front of Rowan during the gunshot. While it was... the gun was being fired.
Maybe
Brandon was within eyesight of Rowan.
Maybe she was just confused about the timeline and thought that he had enough time to...
I mean...
Be there at the party, confront Rowan, steal the necklace, then race to the grotto, up 12 flights of stairs.
No, the other way around. Shoot Ash and then be at the other party.
Oh my god. Both ways make no sense.
So after this, the next later on, they meet up with Stinger, and Stinger has written a manifesto, gathered a bunch of fake incriminating evidence so that they can pin it on King Cobra.
They can make it seem like Brandon is a school shooter. They've got like diagrams of the school with arrows drawn on it and a manifesto and all that stuff, so that they can then give it as an anonymous tip to the police, who will then arrest Brandon and make him seem like a school
But why
shooter.
they don't? Why do they have to do that when they could have had
real
so
crimes.
much other evidence?
They have real crimes they could be talking about, and instead they fabricate a crime. And also, we didn't go into what Brandon said when he confronted Rowan, did we?
Well, he's about to confront her now.
Right, that's true. Okay, never mind.
They
decide, okay, we're going to pin it on him.
Yeah, they're going to do that. And then Rowan gets home. Cop Dad isn't there. Brandon has broken in. She runs into the bathroom, locks the door. She's trying to leave. And
she's scared. And he's saying, please, let me explain. Let me talk to you. And she's like, you're trying to kill us. There. And he says, no, I'm not trying to kill you. Please, just hear me out. And he explains that what happened was, at the party, when Dunbar shot himself, during the commotion, Brandon picked up Dunbar's phone, and he thought that the three of them were bullying Dunbar.
They met on the zoo forum because they both connected over their... He was trash talking his dad. He met Dunbar. They compared.
Dunbar was trash talking his mom or something.
And the girls, and they compared notes.
So they were talking about their bullies, and so Brandon thought Dunbar was being bullied by. Brandon thought Dunbar was being bullied by the girls, and so he sent out the text. He picked up Dunbar's phone as Monkey Man and sent out the text. We finish what we start. #the zoo. I don't know where he got the video of all the people in the masks to post in that message to, but whatever. Yeah. He posted that message to them, and then he also got his boys, Trevor and Sean, to dress up in their zoo masks and scare the girls. Specifically shooting at Alicia, which they didn't specify who it was, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Brandon who shot at Alicia.
Mm-hmm. And because he has the same kind of tattoo.
Because he has the same kind of tattoos. And then the audition where Haley got scared with the truck, and Brandon says the intention was to scare them because he thought they were the bullies, and he saw how scared Haley looked at the audition, and he went home afterwards and he felt horrible, and he thought, this isn't making the world better, this isn't helping anyone, this isn't even honoring Dunbar's memory. I feel horrible about this, so I'm calling it off. I don't want to do this anymore. And he tried to stop it. But by then, King Cobra, someone else, had already started pushing things along further, and it got way out of hand, and he couldn't do anything about it. And he felt so guilty about it, and now he's crying, and he's telling her all about this. And she hears him say all of that, and does not figure out that he's not King Cobra. I don't know what to say. He basically said it explicitly, and she does not understand that he's not King Cobra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, anyway, he leaves. He runs out. She, leaves, and she's like, oh, he's not here anymore. I guess he wasn't going to kill me here. But then he gets picked up by the police, and he's arrested. We'll catch up with him later. Okay, so they have... The second half of this episode is, epilogue.
Yeah, they're acting like this is resolved. The show seems to think we think Brandon was King Cobra.
Oh.
But, he explicitly said he wasn't, and we have no reason to think he was.
Yeah. So, they have a funeral for Nikki. Rowan's speaking at it, and it's wild to me that any of these people came because most of them are accomplices in Nikki's murder.
Yeah, they're half of them are members of the zoo. Sean is there, Trevor's there, Brandon's there. Brandon's not there. He was arrested already.
Yeah. And Haley reaches out and holds Sean's hand and gives it a squeeze. And I'm like, Why?
He was trying to kill you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why do you not get that he's in the zoo?
So then...
This is the final episode of the season.
Yeah.
And the show is wrapping things up like there was a plot line that got finished.
We see... And so then after the funeral, we see Haley and Hawk. They're studying and kissing.
Hawk
That's
is
great.
Noah Centineo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alicia, basically, she visits Ash at the hospital, and she's also started working out with the perfect teacher. So she's going to be, stronger and living life.
And that's going to be a strong connection that she'll carry forward for the rest of her life and will definitely not disappear before season 3 because the actor's career blew up.
Yeah. And I don't remember if we talked about this, but Brandon explains to Rowan that the reason Trevor hates her guts so much is because her mom hooked up with his dad and it broke up their marriage.
Yeah.
And so
Trevor's dad was fucking Rowan's mom after she was fucking the science teacher. Apparently,
just a few
Rowan's
months
mom
ago.
just fucks around. And that's great for her, I guess.
Which is fine, but it's also...
I mean, it is destroying her daughter's reputation and she does not care.
Rowan stopped talking to her immediately after, so they have no idea. And, other stuff happens, but Rowan, she gives Trevor a note. She says, "I'm sorry about your dad. My mom hurt me too." And then he gives her a peace sign. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm still going to punch you in the face.
Yeah, I'm still going to slash your stupid blue truck tires.
Because you've been terrible. Anyway, Rowan realizes she forgives her mom, so she goes to visit her. Then after that, we have probably the cringiest Jake and Rowan scene forever.
Oh, God.
Where a few things happen that I'm like, Rowan, hun, as soon as you're a proper adult, you are going to look back on all of this and be horrified at all of this. There's no romanticizing this with an adult lens, I feel. Because
what happens is Jake finally shows back up in the show. They're standing on opposite sides of the fence. And he went off to police academy to go hang out with his bros and become a cop. When he comes back, he says, "I get the vibe that you thought I ran away to avoid you, but I was leaving to protect you. After all that stuff that happened at that party, I wanted to be able to protect you, which is why I became a cop." And I'm like, dude, the whole season, shitty things have been happening to Alicia, your cousin, and you've been ignoring it. But more importantly, this is so weird because he says, "I want to be able to protect you every day." Pause, and then he says, "And I'm also looking forward to the day you turn 18.
Not that I won't be secretly counting the days until you turn 18.
Yes.
And then she immediately says 465.
And we're like,
hold on. Before that, because there's a little bit more about that aspect of this conversation. But also, he asks about Alicia, what happened to Ash? And she's like, "There's so much I want to tell you, but I can't yet." And he's like, "Well, are you guys okay?" And she's like, "For right now, we're safe." And I'm like,
what makes you think that?
And then, hold on.
Nothing has changed.
So then he says, "I promise to be your friend, and I won't take it out on you that I can't be more than that."
What?
And she says, "And I promise to take it seriously, and I won't try to tempt you. I would never want you to get in trouble." And I'm like, "Hun, this is you. Why are we just grooming yourself right now?"
It was gross.
It was weird. It was so weird.
Not that I won't be secretly counting down the days till you're 18.
This is
460 something.
And this is what makes me think that Jake is so desperate and creepy, and it's like, "Rowan, ma'am, you are out of this boy's league, out of this man's league."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So what happened to my truck?" And she just kind of laughs. And I'm like, "Yeah, Rowan, he's a criminal interested in you. Of course he can't really raise stakes about you guys blowing up his truck for no reason because he's a groomer."
Yeah.
He just has to roll with the punches of immature 16-year-old girls blowing up his only means of transportation. Ash would not be cool with Alicia just blowing up his truck without an answer.
Yeah. So, okay. Do you have any thoughts at this point about the end of the season? Because they're going to do a cliffhanger at the end of season 2.
So what? I'm confused about what was on Dunbar's phone that made Brandon go, these girls are bullying him.
They were talking in that forum. That's how they coordinate. They were talking on the forum. Presumably at some point he conversed with Dunbar about their bullies. And I guess he never got the details of how they were bullying.
But also, if
him.
If the girls had just, like, gone to literally anybody else outside of their little group, the whole school probably would have known about it and then therefore would have understood the situation.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even have to go to an adult. Fine, adults don't... It's a weird Stephen King situation where adults don't listen to children. Go to another friend outside of your friend group and it'll spread.
Fuck, tell people in your friend group.
Yeah, that's
Speak
true.
to the people you know.
Like, that's the thing, too. How's Rowan gonna bully anyone where she has no friends?
She has
Brandon,
no friends, no power, no one's
out.
ever seen her aggressively do anything.
Like, Brandon, you hang out with Haley.
Yeah. Well, okay. So they're gonna end on they want to end on a cliffhanger, and it's incredible.
Okay.
Because what we see is, so again, the show is acting like this is concluded. Mm-hmm. We've had conclusion here, and what happens is Rowan one night gets a text from Alicia, and Alicia says, "Help! I'm in trouble. I'm at the grotto." And Rowan gets there, and Haley's with her. And when she gets there, Alicia runs up to her. The three girls are there. And Alicia says, "I got your text. What's going on?" And then Rowan's like, "Well, we got your text." Which, again, is one of those times when, like, the two girls who have a little bit of wealth are separate from Alicia. Anyway, the three of them are all there, and they realize this is probably a trap. And then they see down a sort of hallway, there's like fire or some kind of light. And then they slowly walk towards it, and then this scene plays out. They're seeing this, and they go, "Oh no." But they're holding hands. Oh my god, this is so fucking scary, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I thought this was all over. Brandon was King Cobra, right? He wasn't. He definitely, for sure, wasn't. But these dumbass girls don't know. Please turn off your headlights. By the way, please turn off your fucking headlights.
Why? Then they'd be able to get away.
You know, why don't they just leave? Or, like, go get a weapon or something, right? Like, you don't have to walk into a trap. Just because they set it up for you doesn't mean you have to.
That'd be rude, though.
Be ready to pause here, and I'll pause in editing when we see the group of them, because this is phenomenally good filmmaking as far as I'm concerned. So we see there's this group of people. Mm-hmm. No, I want to see to be able to identify them. Okay, so we see their fire. Who are they? And then, oh, they're not wearing animal masks anymore. And she gets a text. She looks down at her phone, and they don't, because they've finally learned not to just look at their phone all the time. And then we see, okay, this guy right here, red hoodie, Sean's hair.
Yeah.
That's obviously Sean. And this is obviously Zoe. But for some reason, these girls still don't know, and throughout the entirety of Season 3, they still don't know Zoe is King Cobra. And then finally we cut away to Brandon, who was put in detention, jail, whatever,
Honestly, I think he likes the break. He felt guilty for what he did anyway, so he's just sitting there watching TV. But then King Cobra hacks the prison television.
Yeah.
And says, "You can't kill an idea."
Casey.
Yeah.
And then a cobra is on screen, and he's like,
eating other snakes.
He knows who it is. He knows King Cobra, and, whatever. And then that's it.
That's Tag Season 2.
They still haven't learned anything. I really thought that at the end of Season 1, it was like, okay, well, they didn't learn anything this season, but surely things will be different next season.
Yeah, they got a whole another 12 episodes.
They got more episodes. I think that was also a mistake. I think they should have kept it at 8.
Because
the show is already 90% fluff. Asking them to do 4 more episodes of fluff.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously consider, what you knew at the beginning of this video, or beginning of this recording, the end of this recording. You know, because we told you, Zoe is King Cobra, and that'll be the big reveal at the end of Season 3, by the way. And, because, it was so fucking obvious.
Yeah.
And Sean
I'll show you a picture of Zoe, and then you saw the King Cobra mask.
Yeah, I'll have a picture on screen.
Yeah.
You'll see them side by side. It's really fucking obvious. But, Sean is obviously in this new iteration of the zoo. They're no longer called the zoo in Season 3. They're called something else.
Yeah, we don't know yet. I mean, I know, but they don't know. They haven't told us
the audience
yet.
won't know yet.
So, even...
What the girls learned is all... The only things they did learn about the zoo are incorrect.
Yeah, that's true. So, even if they didn't know that it was Zoe, they at least know it's a girl, right? Because, it was
clearly
very
a female
clearly,
silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen all of Season 3, so maybe they start to piece things together, but they don't piece anything together.
They're really bad at investigating and just generally knowing what's going on.
And, the thing is, Haley isn't even in Season 3, so the whole Sean plotline, trying to have sex with her, trying to kill her, that whole tension is gone, because now he's just another goon, right?
We'll have to see.
Also,
we'll have to see, I guess.
I'm pretty sure Cop Dad, it explicitly said in Season 1 that he's an investigator. So it's none of that rubbed off on any of...
Nah.
She got her mom's genes of dating the wrong people, I guess.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah.
I don't know.
Dating groomers and Brandon.
Yeah.
Golly, just what a crock of shit. What a bad mystery. I think this is the thing that really pisses me off about Tag Season 2. I get the vibe that Hannah McPherson thinks she wrote a mystery. She did not write a mystery.
This is the other thing, too, that, in our recap, and, if you, it's on Netflix right now, if you decide to watch it for yourself. Just, even more so than with Dunbar, these people are so obvious. They are begging these girls to just catch them.
Yes.
Zoe is just ingratiating herself with the girls, hanging out with Rowan, telling her what to do with her bullies.
By the way, fun fact, if you go, this was something, because I already knew Zoe was King Cobra when I started Season 2, when you see the picture in the picture of the camp, Zoe's in that picture.
Oh, that's fun.
She's right next to Dunbar. So, again, that thing about going and finding the picture and figuring out who's in it, that would have been a great way to narrow your fucking suspects down.
Several times, Stinger, Brandon and Sean, all these people, they say, basically, the people targeting you go to your high school. They also went to this camp. Why don't you get the picture?
That's a Venn diagram
and a yearbook,
begging to be drawn.
And then you've got your suspects. You got your zoo. And
because other people probably went to this camp who didn't go to your high school. So really, you're not looking at... Your suspects aren't 24 camp goers. Your suspects are probably a dozen people.
And then you'd probably want to... And then even to just narrow it down a bit more, why don't you see who was on your play that also went to camp. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. These girls,
people who interact with you,
no,
and like they don't do any real investigating at all.
no.
No.
It's astonishing. I don't know why. Even it's not a mystery.
No.
My question to you though is, did Brandon shoot Ash? Is that Tom or Rinks?
Oh, poor Dunbar. Even in death, immediately forgot.
He's not in the zoo. Trust me. I know he's not in the zoo.
So, your final thoughts on season 2 of Tag?
It's bad.